I gotta plug my computer and it's about to die. So talk amongst yourselves for a second. Whatever you have on your mind, maybe a nice recipe, something like that. Whatever you got, just go right ahead and do that because I gotta plug my computer.
I guess, a bad recipe is hoopfish bake. I know that. Pretty excited, big doubleheader for the Orioles tonight.
No, it's not.
Okay, that was
Thank you. Hi, it's Glenn Clark Radio.
Nothing notable happened yesterday.
I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. It is a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. I've got the scenarios up on Facebook. I'll get them up on Twitter in just 1 second. Would You Rather Wednesday, brought to you by Glory Days Grill. Thanks to everybody who came out last night. Had a huge crowd at Guilford Hall Brewery, including our own Leah Lancaster, who's here today. I had a great event with, of course, Tyus Bowser Show and his special guest, Mark Andrews. Had a lot of people out despite the Ravens losing, despite the weather being poor. It was a wonderful crowd. And, I can't say enough about those guys because despite the fact this was maybe our biggest crowd we've ever had. Smell it again?
I do, yes.
Like that.
I'm wondering if it's the heat or something.
Maybe. I don't care for it. I don't care for it. We got to do something about that. But despite that, those guys stayed and went above and beyond and, made sure everybody had the opportunity to say hello and get a picture and an audio. I mean, it was just overwhelming. It was overwhelming. So huge thank you to Tyus Bowser and Mark Andrews for being such good dudes last night. You're going to hear segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show a little bit later on this morning. You'll hear all 3 segments as part of Glenn Clark Radio this week. We will get the entire show up. It's available to watch right now at facebook.com/PressBoxSports and youtube.com/PressBoxOnline. It will be available to listen to a little bit later on today in the archives. And if you just happen to be driving around on Friday night, you'll be able to listen to it at 8 o'clock on 105.7 The Fan. So really great show. Appreciate those guys. And we are – normally this is the part where I tell you, hey, the next Tyus Bowser Show will be – there was a small catch to that. We might have to move the date around a little bit for the next Tyus Bowser Show, so we're not sort of saying anything definitive. We believe we'll have another Tyus Bowser Show in about 2 weeks, but we have a little bit of a date hitch in the schedule. So hang tight. We'll be announcing that, we believe, in the next 24 to 48 hours, exactly when the next Tyus Bowser Show will be. And as always, it's brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialists, the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. It's a partnership of PressBox and Grade 8's Memorabilia, and you can find out more at PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser. In addition to that today, we will talk Ravens with our buddy Evan Washburn, who was there on Sunday for CBS. Beau Brade from Maryland football is going to check in with us. They are off to a very pleasant 4-1 start to the season. Still not quite cracking the top 25. Don't know if that would change should they be victorious this week. And also Drew Forrester is allegedly going to stop by, so, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But we'll do that, I guess, for whatever reason. I'm not really sure. Not really sure what we're doing there, but
he enjoys coming in.
That's fine. There might be other people that would enjoy coming in, but we don't let them come in. I don't know why we continue to allow him to come in, but it's what it is. Nothing we can do about it at this point.
You mean to tell him not to?
It's too late. It's too late.
I feel like it's
too late. We'll just whatever. We'll make it. I can't wait till he's sitting here when Beau Brade calls in. He doesn't have. So, football, huh? How's that? Like, there's nothing. There's just no way he has anything at all. But it's what it is. We're going to do it anyway. Orioles didn't play last night. They finish up the season with a doubleheader today against the Blue Jays. It obviously does not matter, but, if you just – some people just truly love baseball, and if this is your last opportunity to get out to a game – I mean, it's – like, is it supposed to be like this all day?
I think it's not supposed to rain anymore.
But is it supposed to be like this, where it's just unpleasant?
Maybe later, I think much later.
What do you mean much later?
Like
much
closer,
later,
closer to the evening. Closer to the evening.
It's supposed to get better?
Yeah, like it's supposed to clear up, I think.
But is like the sun going to come out?
Good question.
I haven't seen the sun in like a week. It'd be a big news story at this point if we saw the sun. It would be wild. Dude, cut into all programming the way they were doing with Aaron Judge for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they're saying right before sunset, around 6 o'clock, sun should start peeking out a little bit.
Just in time to go down.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So I guess if you're going to the second game of the doubleheader, there might be some
but it's not as windy as it was the last 2 days.
Brief period of sun. Yeah, so they'll wrap up the season today. Obviously, the big story last night was Aaron Judge as he hits home run number 62 to break the record. I've made my feelings about this very clear. I was kind of willing to play along with some of the silliness and poke fun at it, but at some point, this is when we're going to have to stop paying attention to Roger Maris Jr. Like, this is – I know we were enjoying making fun of him, but at some point – and I'm guilty of this, at some point, we're just amplifying someone who does not deserve to be amplified. And I was as guilty as anyone, but we all need to get together and decide to just let him go away. It does not matter what Roger Maris's son thinks about anything. I mean, it matters to him. However he wants to feel in the privacy of his own home, he has every right to it. But to amplify Roger Maris Jr., who I'm not really sure what his – maybe Roger Maris Jr. is a very accomplished man. I don't know. I have no idea who he is as a human. Maybe he's a monster. I'd hope not, but I have no idea. Amplifying him is no longer fun to me. It's over. It's over. Anyone, I know John Heyman's trying to write about it in the New York Post. Like, there are still people that are trying to hold out this nonsensical idea about the record and why it matters. And there's a lot of people, I said this before and I'll continue to say it. There's a lot of people that are breathlessly saying Aaron Judge has hit the most home runs of anyone who didn't use steroids. And the problem with that isn't the assertion that other guys use steroids, because I too believe that. Now, we don't know that. As insane as it might seem, we're pretty sure they used steroids at some point, but we don't know that all of these guys were definitely on steroids when they were breaking records. We just have good reason to believe it. And I'm willing to accept that premise. The premise I'm not willing to accept, and it's unbelievable to me how much we've gone down this road. I have no reason to think that Aaron Judge is using steroids. But you know what I'm never going to be dumb enough to say ever again in my life? That someone is definitely not using steroids. I can't believe how stupid you would have to be, how much you would be spitting in the face of everything that we've known for, my God, how long? To just continue to breathlessly pretend like you know with certainty that someone isn't using steroids. Again, that's a big difference from me suggesting that he is. I'm not going to do that. I have no reason to believe that. But I had no reason to believe that Fernando Tatis was until he got busted. I had no reason to believe a lot of people were using steroids until they got busted. I have no reason to think Aaron Judge is going to be busted. But I'm smart enough to not say these things. And I can't believe how incredibly stupid some people are to make that suggestion when they have no way of knowing that. There's another way to phrase it. The thing that you think you're saying, maybe say it this way. Aaron Judge has hit the most home runs since steroid testing was implemented in baseball. That's a good factual statement. Aaron Judge has hit the most home runs of... No, that's probably the only way to say it, now that I think about it. That's probably the only way to say it. We just say things because maybe we want them to be true. I don't know. I mean, some of it is just because we hate Barry Bonds. I get that. There's a lot of people that hate Barry Bonds. I have no reason to like Barry Bonds. I've said before, the only ever interaction I had with him was extraordinarily unpleasant. But there's no denying what happened, and there's no trying to rewrite history. John Heyman's still trying to hold on to the idea that like you put asterisk next to everyone's name that's hit more than 62 home runs. I mean, getting the entire F out of here with that. Dude, you can be mad and rage in your basement, but Jon Heyman, and again, this is where I don't like America anymore because I don't know who's doing what performatively and who's doing what legitimately. I no longer know if you're really worked up about something or if you're just doing it performatively to try to get attention. That's why God, I hate it here. Jon Heyman knows. He's not stupid. He might not like it, but he knows what occurred. He knows that baseball encouraged this. For baseball to then turn around and try to put asterisks on all of it and pretend like it never happened would be richer than devil's food cake. You don't have to like the fact that the steroid era occurred. And as a lot of people have pointed out, you're also kind of spitting in the face of like eras where guys were all using greenies. And is anyone legitimate ever? Has there ever been anyone who's done anything legitimately in the history of ever? I don't love it, but it happened. And you're not going to rewrite history. It'd be one thing if one person had brilliantly come up with some incredible plan to deceive everyone, and everyone else involved we knew definitively was not doing that thing. There would be an argument for this thing that Jon Heyman's bringing up. The argument would be if, Barry Bonds, we could somehow definitively prove was the only player that ever used steroids. And everyone else of that era, we knew definitively, without question, was somehow 100% clean. And this one guy had just concocted this amazing way. He was putting lead weights in the fish or something like that, right? If that was the case, there would be some amount of an argument. Still not a good one, not a strong one, but some amount of an argument about should you try to erase that person from the history books. This was everyone. Not everyone, but you know what I mean. And it was encouraged by baseball because they needed it at a time coming out of a strike. And after 21-31, they needed something else to get people back. They were in on it. Be mad. Not like it. Try to pretend in your world like Aaron Judge is the single-season home run leader. But he's not. And it's nonsense. And it's pathetic. I mean, it's embarrassing. That to Jon Heyman right now. Dude, it's embarrassing. Again, the risk I run is whether or not he's just doing it performatively. And God, I hate the fact that that's where we are.
I have to ask, what was the one interaction with Barry Bonds?
I've told this story a few times. I was hired when I was like 20. Boy, how old would I have been then?
This is when you were in Arizona?
Yeah, I was in Arizona. And Barry Bonds was hosting a charity poker tournament at a private residence. I was told it was his house. I don't know if it was his house or not. If it was, I don't know if it was his house for like spring training or in Scottsdale during spring training. And I was asked by his PR person to be the MC for the poker tournament, with the exchange being that I would get an interview with Barry Bonds, which at the time was a really big deal.
Yeah. And
so I offered to do it. They were not welcoming. Nobody there was that welcome, except for Chili Davis. Chili Davis, who I guess was working with the Giants at the time, I think maybe he was on their staff, Man, I had a great time hanging out with Chili Davis that night. That was about the only... By the way, I think a lot of people know I'm the world's biggest Kenny Lofton fan, and Kenny Lofton was a jerk to me that night. So really kind of hurt me. Really kind of hurt me because I freaking love Kenny Lofton. But yeah, I did the whole thing. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. We were all set up to go do this interview, and they were like, "Hey, hang tight. He wants to, spend some more time mingling and interacting with everybody. There's a lot of people that came out to this, so just hold tight." I was just standing there waiting because my response, I was just introducing everybody and setting up, and then I was free to go at that point. But we were going to do the interview, and then I was going to go. It was a Sunday night. And I happen to remember that, I want to say Maryland was playing North Carolina on a national TV game. And it was a season where Maryland was good, and I wanted to watch the game, and I wanted to get out of there to go watch the game, and it was a whole thing. So I kept waiting. And I was starting to get eyeballs. I was starting to get, this is a nice house, and I very much was out of place. There's no question about it. I mean, I dressed as well as 23-year-old Glenn Clark could dress, 24-year-old, whatever it was. But I was very much out of place. And I started to get, you got to get out of here. I was like, no, I don't know if you remember, I was the MC of the event. And it was security or just toughs. I don't know what they were, but they were starting to you got to go. I was like, no, I've got an interview with Barry. We're going to the next room. And it was like, Barry doesn't do interviews. What are you talking about? And now I'm trying to track down his PR girl. I'm like, hey, what the hell is going on? And I got to a point where I started to feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And I finally just said, I'm going to go talk to the guy. I'm like, this 24-year-old Glenn Clark, what do I have to lose? I went over to him and just said, hey, man, I remember being gracious, hey, appreciate being out here to be part of the event. I know it was named after his father. It was his charity was the Bobby Bond something. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm glad, I love what you're doing. We had worked an arrangement out that I would come do this, and then I would get an interview with you. And he just started laughing, right in front of me, and just said, it's been past time for you to get out.
Jeez.
So yeah, that was the only. I mean, I'm very capable. I'm an adult. Yeah. I'm a big boy. I didn't like my interaction with Barry Bonds. It was horrible. But
Jeez.
Let me be clear.
Yeah,
that doesn't change whether or not Barry Bonds hit the most home runs in a single season.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Well, he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, is he in your Hall of Fame?
He should be in the Hall of Fame, of course. He's one of the greatest baseball players of all time. But no, he's not in the Hall of Fame. So there's a lot of embarrassing that comes along with this. It is some level of accomplishment. There's no doubt it's an accomplishment for Aaron Judge to have hit 62 home runs this season. There aren't that many people that have hit 62 home runs in a single season. And whether he was playing with a short porch or not, Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs. That's in an all-around very good season. There's nothing wrong with saying things like that. When the Yankees tweet out, it's a season unlike anything we've ever seen before. No, it's not. It's not. And I get it. This is the gaslighting of America. We just say anything. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in the history. No, it's not. But it's a hell of a season. It's unbelievable. Man, it's incredible. But it's not a record, and it's not the greatest season we've ever seen. And it's not a season unlike anything we've ever seen before. It's a hell of a baseball season from Aaron Judge. Today's show also brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star. Come see Olympic athletes in action. The Maryland 5-Star is hosting the nation's best horses and riders as they compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events, the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. Joining us now, he, of course, was working the Ravens game against the Bills on Sunday that did not go the way of the Ravens. He is CBS sideline reporter and our very good friend, Mr. Evan Washburn. He's back with us here on GCR. Evan, it's Glenn. What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good. I'm hoping this rain is finally moving out. I've had enough of it.
Young Griffin tells me that allegedly the sun is supposed to come out at 6 o'clock, and that is such breaking news in this area that I feel like we should be doing like cut-ins like they were doing with Aaron Judge for the last week, just to show a picture of the sun and remind people that it's real.
I'd take it. I'm sure it made that Monday morning for Ravens fans that much harder because it's been very Seattle-ish for the last 4 days.
By the way, are you over that now with like the side? Have you done enough of these in crazy weather that like it doesn't even impact you, or do you still have like you got to go through like an extra layer of preparation for working a game when you know it's going to be miserable outside?
No, I would say more the latter. The more you do this, the more you understand what you need to be comfortable to do the job. And I think I was fortunate that Sunday was, for all intents and purposes, not in terms of who I was leaning towards, because we don't lean, but it was a home game. So I brought a literal handbag, like overnight bag of different options to wear based off of how cold it was, how windy, how rainy. And where you're in a bind is if the other 31 teams, I'm on a plane, and you can only pack so much. So you really have to try and kind of forecast out. So, yeah, it's real, man. I would say if you don't go in prepared, you're going to be either miserable because you're cold or wet or you're too hot, whatever it might be.
Do you have a go-to story? I mean, obviously we're going to talk Ravens. Do you have a go-to story of when maybe you, like earlier in your career, perhaps you weren't fully prepared and like the worst experience that you ever had weather-wise?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the worst, and this was real early. I think it was my first or second year. Not doing NFL, I was doing college football. I was in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Now, I don't know if I could have prepared for this, but Southern Miss was playing Louisville. Teddy Bridgewater was actually the quarterback for Louisville at this point, and it was just a downpour, and the field didn't drain. So I was in standing water on the sideline for what felt like 3 quarters, maybe all 4 quarters. And that was pretty miserable. Again, I don't know if there's anything I could have done to prepare for that, but that always sticks out with me. But then conversely, talk about preparation. I had that Bills-Patriots game, wild card last year, where it was sub-zero temperatures. And I discovered the electric vest, and I had everything to the point where I was comfortable, to use the word, in what was, I think, feels like -7.
The electric vest, I've never heard of the electric vest.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, you can find them on Amazon. No plug here, no free shout-outs. But basically you charge up what look like phone chargers, portable phone chargers, and they go into pockets in just a generic-looking fleece vest.
Wow.
And you hit on, and it is incredible because, as you know, Glenn, you keep your heart warm.
Yeah.
That's where it all runs through.
Well, are you a multi-pair of socks man? Like, do you wear multiple pairs of socks in these circumstances?
No, but I will bring backup in case I will put the foot warmers in there, and then possible sweating of the feet, and then if that gets cold, then you got to reapply new socks. So I mean, I could go on for hours. People think this job is about football. No, it's about preparing for the elements.
Well, Evan, that's what we needed. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking.
Yeah.
Hey, so here's what I'm struggling with, right? Like the stats going around the last 24 hours. The Ravens have trailed for all of 14 seconds through 4 games.
Wow.
That would Football Outsiders, DVOA, everything about statistically would tell you the Ravens are a really good football team. But there's the flip side argument that people are making, which is if you're a really good football team, there's no way you can be a good football team and blow 2 separate 3-possession leads at home in as many tries. And I think that as trite as it might be, they make a fair point when they say that. Where are you with the totality of what we've seen so far from the Ravens through 4 weeks?
Probably somewhere in the middle, probably trending more towards they're a good team that has some deficiencies that have to be rectified but are fixable to some degree. And I think that stat, and I hadn't actually seen that one, that's impressive, or illuminating, I should say. To me, not only does it illuminate what's going on with Baltimore, but to me it speaks to just why this league is so gosh darn entertaining and why it's often considered week to week, any given Sunday, because to me that exemplifies the fact that you have to make sure that you take care of all the details and the little things, and you never know what play or plays or moment in a game is going to dictate the outcome, because for the most part, these games come down to one score. I mean, and that includes some of the worst teams in the league right now. And that's where I think Baltimore, where there's such an expectation that all those things will always be taken care of, that this year feels, at least through 4 games, to be much more high or low than in previous years that I can remember, where the highs are, wow, this team's got the ability to make a Super Bowl run, and the lows are they going to make the playoffs in a loaded AFC?
Evan Washburn is with us here on Glenn Clark Radio from CBS. Evan, you're down on the sidelines as all this is unfolding on Sunday. Most players that we have talked to in the last couple of years about John Harbaugh's aggressive decision-making have been very much in favor of it. We see this thing with Marcus Peters. I was unaware, it was pointed out to me by someone else, that this all started when Marcus Peters was racing down the sideline to scream at John Harbaugh to take a timeout before they went for it on 4th down. And it kind of had a carryover effect. It's an ugly scene. I mean, everybody sees it and says, hey, you're not supposed to see this happen. And I don't think that it's going to have a carryover effect, but it's definitely different than anything we've seen before since the Ravens became this kind of aggressive, we're going to go for it team. What did you make of all of that as it was unfolding? You were down there seeing all of it right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Glenn, because it kind of speaks to the moment of that 4th down call as I've replayed it a number of times. It all kind of happened very quickly. Whether or not it was to call a timeout or the idea of taking points, we don't know. But it all sort of, those previous situations where the aggressiveness has been highlighted, largely due to success, because that's how we do it. We play the result, where Harbaugh brings Lamar over and says, do you want to go for it? And he says, hell yeah. And then they go for it, and it's great. And then I think there was another one on Sunday Night Football. There wasn't that moment that I could see. Not only did they not take a timeout, it was, okay, it was almost as it was like pre-planned, predetermined, like they're going for it. So there's that part of it. But the larger discussion that I find interesting is the aggressiveness has been celebrated, as it should. And I don't really have a problem with the 4th down call. I mean, I'm a big don't play the result guy. In the moment, I understood it. But the aggressiveness was and could be viewed as an indictment on the defense and how they were playing and how they're playing right now. And that's a first, especially in Baltimore, where a call can be viewed as, I'm doing this because I don't have faith in my defense. Now, he is obviously, John said that's not the case, and it's about the math, and we you can choose to believe that or not. That I can't argue with the math because I don't understand it fully. But that is a part of this discussion because the way the defense has played the last few weeks, and that to me is the new layer to all of this, where your aggressiveness is going to be celebrated when successful, but on top of when you fail, now in this case it could be viewed as the defense is really a problem.
Again, I say worry, it's the wrong thing to ask because you're not a fan, you're a reporter, but
yeah.
Do you have any reason to think that there is anything more? Like, do you believe, hey, this dies? Like, these are adults, people get emotional in moments, and we've known Marcus Peters in particular to be an emotional player over the years. And so, okay, no big deal, these guys move on, or do you file it away and say, I do think that's interesting and something that we'll have to monitor for the next couple of weeks?
I don't think it's there's larger concerns or priorities, as I view it, for this team than managing personalities and relationships and being sensitive to those things. That's not to say it hasn't been a conversation or an understanding moving forward about where everything stands, but the reality is they need to get prepared to play Joe Burrow and the Bengals, and that defense has to be able to sustain for 4 quarters, not be one that shows flashes in chunks and then has trouble finishing for whatever reason. That to me is where, after you get through the like, hey, are we cool here kind of thing, which I'm sure at this point probably already happened, then that becomes, because if they continue to surrender leads and have trouble getting off the field defensively against some of these offenses, that's going to lead to frustration. That's going to lead to outbursts because these are extremely competitive people that are playing with massive stakes on the line for their personal careers and as members of a team that has some pretty serious expectations.
Evan, do you get the sense that some of these, specifically the defensive problems, but I'll tie that in with running the ball and how the run game can help with the defense, and that was a huge story, obviously, in the Miami game. Do you get the sense that this can be fixed kind of internally, that you get a Tyus Bowser back out on the field, and now you've added in Jason Pierre-Paul, but you didn't have Justin Houston on Sunday, so you get those two guys together, David Ajabo at some point, and even throwing in that Gus Edwards could still help you in the run game. It would be nice if Ronnie Stanley played football again at some point, and that would probably help you a little bit in the run game. Do you feel like what they have still to get back could be the difference in closing the gap, or do you think those problems are maybe bigger than just simply getting a couple of injured players back out on the field?
I go back to the conversation we had during the preseason. We were kind of forecasting out this team, and similarly, you presented kind of what this team's expectations and ceiling could be. And I referenced the fact that, everybody keeps saying when this guy gets back and when these guys get back. And thankfully for this team, they've started to get some of these guys back. Marcus Peters is back. I think J.K. Dobbins is starting to look like his old self again. Those things are awesome. But the idea that you're adding players that are coming off legitimate serious injuries, whether it's two guys with Achilles tendon injuries or Ronnie Stanley, who's barely played in 2 years, coming off what sounds like ankle and more. If you're thinking that's solving what problems exist, that to me is a mistake. The hope is they come back and they help you round out what is a defense that maybe now would have more depth. But I think it's about whoever is in the building and available just has to be better at running whatever and executing whatever it is they're being asked to execute, whether that's in the run game in this offensive line or defensively, a scheme that's different. I mean, it sounds like, based off our conversations last week with the guys there and just watching it and understanding it from those that are able to break down the film, it's a lot more zone. That can be more challenging to understand, and it requires a massive amount of continuity and trust and communication. And when people are new to it, you're going to have lapses and you're going to have breakdowns and missed assignments. The hope is that the learning curve is expedited to the point where by next week or the week after, they're showing real signs of improvement. But I'm not a believer that even adding a player of Ronnie Stanley's ability at his best is solving anything. I don't think David Ajabo's never played in the NFL. Like, you think he's going to come off of Achilles the last year, not even last year, during the spring, and all of a sudden be Micah Parsons? Tyus Bowser's shown to be a really solid guy, but no, I'm not there with that solves whatever perceived problems they have.
It's interesting. Is there, like a personnel? Should the Ravens be looking to explore? We've seen them be more aggressive in recent years and try to do things at the trade deadline, and it's a very un-Ozzie Newsome-like thing that Eric DeCosta has taken on. Or, again, is this more of a, hey, it's just got to be solved with coaching? It's not something that can be solved by, adding in a Roquan Smith or something like that?
I think you stay the course. Yeah. I think you also, when evaluating this, coaches and players are immune to excuses. I get it, because if they make an excuse, however legitimate it might be, we or those in the media will latch onto it and eviscerate them for it. But I'm a believer that there are reasonable explanations, not excuses, for why things happen. And I think part of the evaluation has to be, we played in Miami and Buffalo, the two examples of this defense sort of falling apart in the second half. In my opinion, two of probably the top four most explosive and challenging offenses in the NFL right now. You factor in Kansas City when they're at their best, but Buffalo, absolutely. And so if you're a defense finding itself and finding its identity and becoming more cohesive, and you're then forced to face those two offenses, yeah, that's going to exacerbate some of the problems. But that to me doesn't mean you have to be reactionary and try to, again, add pieces that aren't familiar with what it is you're trying to do and think that's going to solve it.
That's fair. I mean, I think it's completely fair. It doesn't mean that I'm not still interested, for what it's worth. Like
I think to your point, I think all things are on the table
right.
when there's problems and it's week 5. And I've said this with you, and it's kind of been what I've felt from day one of basically training camp with all these teams, especially in the AFC, is you can't dig yourself a hole. I think it's too talented a conference to put yourself behind the 8 ball by week 8 or 9 or 10 and then think you're going to – I mean, everybody – you can make a run, obviously. We've seen that. This team's done that so many times. But, man, it's such a gauntlet.
I'll be the one to say it because I know you have to say good things. But, boy, you go from Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson right to Baker Mayfield and Jimmy Garoppolo, just 2 brilliant matchups back-to-back week. So I know.
I'll take it, man. No, I'm with you. It was going to be tough to beat Lamar and Josh. I will say I've never done a 49ers game in now 9 years on the sidelines. Yeah, which is odd. I know. I mean, when you think about it, but the NFC and however it's fallen. So, if nothing else, man, I'm getting to check a box in that regard. And I watched Monday night, and I thought, man, this team. Talk about stories. I mean, I know we're in this world in this bubble of Baltimore and the Ravens, but man, as the world turns in San Francisco with Jimmy back there, it's pretty wild.
How many more teams are there that are on your list? How many there can't be more than like 5, right?
Well, so here I'll give you. I mean, you've been doing this a long time. You can make the call. I've done the Lions twice in the preseason, but never in the regular season.
Okay, sure.
So 49ers and never, not even a preseason game, and then Lions never in a regular season game, and that would be it.
Wow, man, yeah. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that you'll like at least have done every team now. It's sort of like visiting every state or something like that you can now check off.
Exactly. I get a special pin, and I get to wear it.
Does Ian present that to you before the game? Like, is there a moment beforehand and you salute? I love that.
Yeah, or he hands it down.
At Evan Washburn on Twitter is how you follow him. Love you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you as always for doing this. Yeah, no problem.
Great to be with you guys. Have a good one. Talk to you later.
Evan Washburn checking in with us here on GCR. Hey, today's show also brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. The best place to watch and bet on all sporting events, but most specifically right now during football season. Thursday night games, all day Saturday for college football, all day Sunday, and, of course, Monday night games as well. I'm telling you, you go in there and make your $25 Super Bowl futures bet. You might win. Let's start with that. You might just win money. But you also could end up winning a pair of tickets to the Super Bowl. FanDuel.com/SBNAZ is the website. You make your $25 Super Bowl futures bet. Then you register that bet at that website, and imagine if you bet a Super Bowl futures bet on the Ravens, and the Ravens make the Super Bowl, and you win. I mean, it just could be an incredible turn of events. FanDuel.com/SBNAZ, again, is the website for you to register at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. For better or for worse, I'm told that Drew Forrester is going to stop by here in a little bit, so we'll do that. Beau Brade from Maryland Football is going to join us as well. It is a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Have you been to Guilford Hall Brewery? Located in Baltimore's Station North neighborhood, Guilford Hall Brewery breaks the craft brew mold with their great handcrafted microbrews and amazing Bavarian-style food selections. Join Guilford Hall 7 days a week for Orioles, Ravens, and all of your favorite college games. Make plans now to watch the big games, play trivia, or bring your dog for Yappy Hour. They even have free valet service on Friday and Saturday nights. Go to guilfordhall.com for a complete schedule of events, beer listings, and food and drink specials. We'll see you at Guilford Hall Brewery.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
What's up, everyone? This is Tyus Bowser, and I'm excited to tell you that I'm back for Season 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show in partnership with Pressbox and Great H Memorabilia. Join us on Tuesday nights throughout the season as I'll be heading all over town with my special guests. And of course, our co-hosts, Glenn and Rita. Or is it Rita and Glenn? What is it? I look forward to meeting you guys and talking a little bit about football and a lot about life. And if you happen to miss the show, you can now catch a replay Friday nights on 105.7 The Fan. Get all of your details for the Tyus Bowser Show right now at PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser.
It's brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialists and the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill.
The 2022 baseball season is in full swing, and the future is brighter than ever for your Baltimore Orioles. I'm Paul Valley.
And I'm Zach Goodman.
And together we bring you the Bat-Around every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon with everything you need to know about the Orioles and baseball as a whole. From veterans like Cedric Mullins, Austin Hayes, and Ryan Mountcastle,
To young stars like Adley Rutschman, Grayson Rodriguez, and D.L. Hall.
we've got you covered for every game, every pitch,
And every debut.
You can watch us at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, or you can listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. So join us live on the Bat-Around every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon right here at PressBox Sports.
Glory Days Grill's Oktoberfest menu is now running. It's one of their most popular seasonal menus all year. It features the chicken schnitzel, the Oktoberfest brewer's platter, the brewer's sausage sandwich, the Bavarian burger with a pretzel bun, the cheddar ale soup, the slam dunk pretzels, and the apple cobbler. All of these meals pair well with Oktoberfest beers and Angry Orchard on draft. Dine in or order online at glorydaysgrill.com and pick up your favorites to take home. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
Check out Jeremy Kahn's daily picks at PressBoxOnline.com as he tries to find you daily winners. And speaking of winners, here's a man who once won a media curling contest, and I don't think anything else. He's Glenn Clark.
Drew Forrester is here, drewsmorningdish.com. I'm not sure why, but, you know, what the hell? We got nothing else to do. Hey, coming soon.
You're not a coffee aficionado, right?
I'm not.
Man, this Jamaican Blue
Oh,
Mountain.
you love the Jamaican. You've always loved the Jamaican Blue. You've been.
It's not the Jamaican you're thinking of, Griffin.
Right.
It's a different kind there, kid.
I'm sure.
Totally different kind.
That's not the case. Hey, the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill is the perfect ceramic tailgate or home grill for searing, grilling, baking, and smoking all kinds of food. Get the details. Reserve yours today. GinsuGrills.com. Use the code TAILGATE, and you will save $100 when you do.
What's the boss doing in here today?
Oh,
is he evaluating
might be the day.
Is he evaluating?
Today might be the day.
Is he evaluating you?
It's always. I never know. Always. I don't know if you felt this when you got back into real radio recently.
He's got a Capitals jacket on. John does.
Oh yeah, is he? He roots for the teams in the other cities.
He roots for the DC teams, Caps, Maryland.
Weird.
All right.
Well, they play. I don't know if you heard.
Yeah, down in DC.
So
right, suburb of DC.
You know what I like about you?
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, you haven't changed at all in 14 years.
Right.
14 years in. You know, like I've said this before. If you go see Fastball, you want them to play the way. You know,
I mean, if you go see Smash Mouth,
and
they don't play that song with the L on your forehead,
I would prefer they play none.
But if they don't play that song about the L on your forehead, you haven't seen Smash Mouth.
What are you doing exactly?
Right.
What are you doing?
Right. Well, when I release my greatest hits album one day, I mean, when you get Aerosmith's greatest hits, it's got Dream On. You've heard it a million times, but it still has Dream On there.
Jesus. I don't know where
How are the Ravens doing?
Not so great. All right, I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to attempt to have a legitimate sports conversation with you for a minute.
That's why you bring me in.
Because then Beau Brade from Maryland's going to call in, and I'm not sure you've got anything to offer there.
Dude, I think Willard's going to do a great job
for
them.
He plays football. Yeah, I know. Close, though. Close. I've been posing the question this way. I don't think you should
fire him yet, but
I don't know if you saw the stat that's going around. The Ravens have trailed for all of 14 seconds.
I know. It's unbelievable.
All season long.
It's unbelievable.
Football Outsiders, who, of course, does the deep analytical, stats-driven dives.
Okay.
They use the DVOA stat. They think the Ravens are they're their third choice among Super Bowl favorites at the moment, still, statistically, through what they've seen through 4 games, despite the fact they've lost 2. The flip side argument, of course, is you lose 2 games at home in as many tries where you had 3 possession leads, you're not a good football team. It's not definitive, it's not based on a statistic, but it's a pretty reasonable argument to make. Where are you with the totality of the first 4 weeks?
It's such a week-to-week league. First of all, it's really, really hard to have some sort of overreaching opinion on it when, and I'll just use as an example, we kind of sort of went in there to New England and clobbered them. Then the next week they went to Green Bay and lost in overtime. Like, the league is insane. We always say that. And it's so weird, right, that literally anything can happen. I mean, they have pretty much a cupcake schedule now. Again, weird stuff could happen. They could go to Jacksonville at the end of November, and Lamar's got a groin strain and doesn't play. But I mean, when you look at their schedule, they pretty much have an easy schedule. I mean, they got almost. Yeah,
I'm not. The only thing I'll say about that,
they do.
No, you're right. But I think a lot of us are writing off Tampa, and I'm
not doing that.
I've learned my lesson.
I'm not writing them off. I'm just saying. Automatic wins. Carolina, automatic win. Atlanta, automatic win. Denver, automatic win.
Automatic win.
Right. They're not losing to the Broncos, I can tell you that. Yeah. No, but I think they're an 11 or 12 win team if they're healthy, right? I mean, we saw last year they were an 8-3 team that was going to be a 12-win team, and guys got hurt and the whole thing fell apart. So you always have to couch that, because then people are going to come out and go, "I told you, you jerk, they are not a 12-win team." Well, they would have been last year if the whole team doesn't get hurt. But so the answer to your thing about this, whatever this group, this stats group is
Football Outsiders.
Is all you gotta do is get in. I think we all know that, right? You got to get into the postseason in whatever way you get in, and then a lot of times it does turn out to be what's the matchup that you get. You're probably not going to want to play Kansas City and Buffalo if you could avoid having to play both of those two, right? If you have to play one of them, okay, but you don't really you wouldn't want to go into the playoffs having it aligned that you've got to play both of them. That wouldn't be good. I think the Miami, if you're going to break down the games, I think the Miami thing was kind of an outlier. That sort of collapse almost never happens, right? It happens once a decade. And on the flip side, you probably do it once a decade, where you come back out of back from 21 down.
Yes.
Right. So I look at that one a little bit like an outlier, and the Dolphins are probably better than people thought. And, when their chakras are lined up and their quarterback knows his name, they're not bad. I think last week was way worse to me. I thought last week was way worse of a loss than the one against Miami.
It's interesting.
I think it was way worse. I can chalk up the Miami thing and just say it just was one of those things. We were hurting in the secondary. Their two speed guys crushed us. Their quarterback got the ball to them in some tight spot. Like, you could write that one off. This one last week was really hard to write off. Like, you're ahead 20-3. They look like they're sort of in the whole, let's just try to not lose 44-3 here today. Buffalo looked like, until they scored at the end of the half, they looked almost uninterested. Then they get the touchdown at the end of the half. Now it's sort of kind of a game, but it's 20-10. But if the Ravens score to make it 27-10, might be over.
And they had shown that they could run the ball, which was the difference in the Miami game.
Right.
Like the Miami game, they could not run the ball to save their life. So you're going to go out, run the ball, and it's going to be a different scenario.
Right. We're going to take the air out of it. They're going to get 3 or 4 possessions between in the last 2 quarters, and as long as we score a couple times, they're not.
Yep.
Mathematically, they're not going to be able to come back and beat us. Then you have, and we don't have to go through it all, but so many things. Like I always do this, right? When I was on the air, I always talked about the pizza. There were 8 big slices you could give away the other day. I mean, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't score in the second half. That's a slice. Like you can't go a half and not score.
Correct.
Well, especially at home.
Especially against the Buffalo Bills.
So you got to score. Okay, that's on the offense. Have no idea why on earth John would have called would have challenged that play on the spot of the ball.
Never getting a spot challenge overturned. It never happens.
But again, and you say this all the time, and I completely agree. Like, if in that moment, right then, on 3rd down, you say to yourself, okay, it's 3rd and 2. If we don't get this, we're going to go for it here. If that's your mindset and you're obligated to going for it, which, by the way, earlier in the game they went for it, and they shouldn't have, but they got the first down. But that was not a smart move either. But they go for it. I mean, they don't get it, and then you challenge it when you always were going to go for it anyway at that stage. You were always going for it. So why bother wasting the timeout that at that point in the game you probably could say, hey, we're going to need this somewhere.
Correct.
Whether or not we're going to need it to kill their momentum for 2 minutes, or what happens if we fall behind and we need a timeout? Mm-hmm. So that's a piece. Like that wasn't a significant turning point, but you needed that timeout at the end of the game when Owe tackled the guy on the 1 yard line, right? So now we go back to now you keep going forward. Queen gave up on the guy when and maybe he didn't realize that Josh Allen was going to run back into the middle of the field where he could have had him. Queen giving up on the run. Just everything that could have gone wrong for them went wrong. And then obviously we have the situation at the end of the game where they go for it on 4th and 2. They call this pass play. Duvernay's standing there wide open, but Moses misses his block. Zeitler's guy kind of gets in the way. Lamar can't see them in the end zone. And then when he does see him, it's too late, and the guy picks it off. They're in, again, another piece. Do anything there, but don't throw an interception. If they get the ball on the 2 yard line, and that's the one place where I would agree with John a little bit, would be when John said, hey, look, if we don't get it, they got the ball on the 2 yard line.
So
and the whole tenor of that whole series now changes. And this is my argument for why I think he was wrong to not kick the field goal. I think he was wrong. I think that no matter what, I don't care what your computer tells you.
But by the way, that's the and I need to be clear about this. My biggest issue now is him trying to pretend like the analytics said to do it. They didn't. The numbers didn't say
the number. Well, the
they
number,
said it was the same,
and it was negligible, right? I mean,
that's
the number,
the point.
right?
Like
the number,
if you know anything about statistics,
it's not
and
80.
data,
It's not. Here's the thing:
right.
If the numbers say if you score a touchdown here, you got an 87% chance,
right?
But if you kick a field goal, you only have a 59% chance.
Right.
I might say, oh.
Well, I mean, again, it's not about whether you score because there's a risk of you not getting the touchdown.
100%.
The numbers were off by 2% at most.
Right. But
that's the same.
But the reason I thought, and I still say this, the reason I thought it was not a wise move to go for it was that, and they do this all the time. They here are the numbers if we kick the field goal. Here are the numbers if we score a touchdown. What they don't say is what are the numbers when he throws an interception in the end zone and the other team gets it on the 20-yard line. Right. So I thought that when you gave them the ball on the 20 in a tie game, it was just like a regular football game for them. They were under no duress to do anything.
Correct. That's the point.
They weren't under any pressure to make a play. If they would have moved the ball to the 42 with 1:57 left and then faced 4th and 6, they would have just punted the ball away. The Bills would have just punted it. And of course, yes. They would have punted it, and the Ravens would have had 1:30 to finagle their way down the field, but they would have never been under the gun. They would have never been in 4-down territory if the Ravens would have if John would have kicked the field goal. If John doesn't kick the field goal, they're never under duress.
Right.
If John kicks the field goal, there's 4 minutes left in the game, which is a lot, no question, but it's not a lot when you
have to score.
Right. You mean because remember, every play, unless you're hurried, every play takes 40 to 45 seconds, unless you're hurried. Now, they would have moved up to the line quicker, but again, the more they get out of their rhythm, the more they're under the gun, the more chances they have for making a mistake. And I know everyone's saying, yeah, did you see what they did? They drove right down the field. They were going to score anyway. You have no idea if that's true. All it takes is Calais Campbell to bat the ball in the air one time, just one time, or Owe or Queen to do something positive for once. It takes one thing. It's raining. The ball slips out of somebody's hand. You get a face mask, but it takes any of that, and they're out of their element. And I don't think there was any accounting for that.
Well, I think that, and
to me, that was their biggest mistake.
I explained it the way I don't mind the aggressiveness. There's nothing that defends this. The numbers don't say go for it here. The numbers say you have to make a decision. That's what the numbers say.
I think what's interesting.
The numbers say you have to, as a human being, sort through everything and figure it out on your own. You can't just default to a computer told me to do something because the computer's not telling you to do something.
This is very similar.
In the moment, they ran the risk of exactly what happening. Never seeing the ball again.
Right.
And that's the difference between that and the fourth down thing in the end of the third quarter, which I have no problem. People have different opinions about that.
Right.
Even though it worked, there is room to have an opinion that, hey, that might not have been a great idea, but the risk was, worst case scenario, we're down 1 score at the start of the fourth quarter. We're very much right in the football game. The risk here was you don't score and you never see the ball again.
Unless you let them score. Which,
correct. It's always a fine line. It's so difficult, Drew. Obviously, we all saw the same thing that we did. Of course, now in the last 2 days, we've seen that Odafe Owe damn near got the strip, right? Like, he was about an inch away from having the ball. The ball came out briefly. It just so happened that Singletary grabbed it again and held on to it. It is so difficult to get everybody on board with exactly what to do here. It's easy to say, hey, if somebody gets behind you, like we saw this in the Minnesota-New Orleans game on Sunday morning, that Marshawn Lattimore was beat by Justin Jefferson and 1,000% should have just given up, should have just said, go score the touchdown. Somebody's behind you. Don't tackle them. You're winning the game for them the moment that you tackle them. But if somebody's just moving the ball down the field and it becomes clear to them that you're not trying to tackle them, then it's easier for them to say, oh, right, there's a reason why they're not trying to tackle me.
I'll fall down.
I need to hit the turf.
Right.
Like, it's a very difficult thing to do.
So the other thing, too, just to go back to that whole sequence, and John, and now, we're never going to know the truth of this, right? Like, this feels like this started in 2019 in Seattle when Lamar said, we're going for it here.
Coach, let's go for it.
And John's like, okay, I love it. And they get it, and they win the game. And it feels like that's when it started.
Mm-hmm.
And this is now, 2022, this feels to me like the team that just shoots three-pointers. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Go down.
Yeah. And somebody would say,
somebody
would say if that's who you are, you have to be that team.
I totally disagree with that. And I feel like they've morphed into that now. And I'm not saying it's Lamar. I'm not saying it's Lamar. But if it is Lamar saying to John, hey, we're going for it here, John's got to say, take it easy there, big boy. I coach the team.
Well, yeah.
And I'm not saying it's Lamar.
Right.
I'm just saying if that's the pressure that John's getting is in his headset, they're saying, hey, John, let's think about this one for a second. And Lamar's yelling at the sideline, we're going for it. John's got to figure out a way to navigate that better. You can't just let.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that the players should have some role. I understand they should have a role in what's going on, but you can't let
very
them
uniquely.
be.
They didn't all seem to be on board with this one. This is the
Right.
first time we've ever
Right.
seen where it wasn't a
Just kick the field goal, John. And it's funny because we always do this, right? Like revisionist history. Of course, that play sucked. It didn't work. Soon as Ian Eagle said, and it looks like the Ravens are going to keep the team on the offense on the field. I went to Twitter and I was like, bad decision. John, bad decision. Don't do this. Like, kick the field goal, because I just felt like giving them even the remote possibility of getting the ball back on even the 2, but giving them the chance to get the ball back and you not scoring could have been deflating. And funny enough, I almost think there's something to be said about the fact that it happened at home. That they are almost under more duress at home.
It's interesting
to me.
Why?
Because of what happened against Miami.
Now there's demons involved.
And people are and they know they can sense it. They're not stupid. They know people are hooting and hollering and yelling, and they're not dumb.
It's interesting.
They can hear it. They can hear you yelling down there at the sidelines.
Look, man, all that matters as much as what happens on Sunday night. Obviously, like that, all of that stuff, the esoteric stuff, matters just as much as do you turn around and go beat the Bengals on Sunday. If you do, that's all gone, right? Like if you do, there's none of this. They've been struggling at home.
Sure.
And by the way, it's so silly to bring up, like, well, they've lost 5 straight. Whatever
that
happened last year is...
That might be the dumbest thing anybody
man.
does. Right.
Like, those weren't the Ravens.
Right.
They were guys wearing purple.
I 1,000,000% agree with that. That's dumb to say.
But if they
I get it, like, from a record standpoint,
correct.
It's got to be recognized.
Yes, it's factually accurate.
But last year's team has nothing to do with this.
But if they lose on Sunday night against the Bengals, 1,000%.
Now, I do think it would be potentially relevant if Lamar quarterbacked in all those games.
I agree. I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
The moment your quarterback's gone, that's not the team. Like, it's a different thing.
Agree.
That's the way the league works.
I wrote this morning, like, because we like to argue about stuff now, and now we're arguing about Aaron Judge.
I don't know.
That's my point. Like, we're arguing about something that
factually
is clearly nothing to argue about.
Correct.
He is not the all-time home run. John Heyman just wrote this big thing today.
We already had we did our 5 minutes on John Heyman earlier.
Come on.
This is also
what we do.
But you know what? This is also the problem, and I blame a society for this. I don't know at this point. John Heyman has always been a respectable-ish baseball reporter. I don't know if he's moved into the part of his career where he's just a carnival barker now. I don't know. This is what I kind of hate about how media has turned. I don't know if he's just being performative for the sake of being performative, or if he actually believes this nonsense. And that's what makes this all so frustrating, is it was easy for me to say, of course I don't care about what Skip Bayless says or about what Stephen A. Smith says. They're performative. Like, it's nonsense.
Right.
They're carnival barkers. But now that is seeped into regular reporters. I don't know who's just saying things for the sake of saying them now to try to get attention, and it's infuriating because no, there is no world like that. Nonsense. All right, Drew Forrester's here. Hour number 1 of today's program is in the books. It was also brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines. You can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. Maryland football is off to a 4-1 start. They get ready to face Purdue on Saturday at noon, trying to stretch that out to 5-1. Joining us now, a man who has been very involved on the defensive side of the ball. He has been mixing it up all season long, causing turnovers, making life hell. He is Beau Brade, and he's with us now here on GCR. Beau, it's Glenn and Drew in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Of course. How you doing?
Everything is good, man. I imagine life is pretty good for you guys right now. I'm sure you're still stinging, what could have been about Michigan, but, everything seems to be clicking for you guys at the moment, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, can't live in the past, but definitely one that got away from us. But on to the next week.
No doubt, man. Beau, this team coming into this season, I've talked to a few guys. The confidence that you had based on what happened a year ago, did you guys come into this believing like, hey, we have a real chance to make some serious noise and to compete? And people are writing us off and saying what they think we can accomplish, but did you guys internally have the belief that you could be a threat in the Big Ten this season?
Yeah, of course. We knew what we were capable of doing, and we could be a big threat. We knew that people also I accidentally muted myself. People would also underestimate us. So, because we love being underestimated, especially because, you get a jump on the opponent and surprise them. But, yeah, we knew what we were capable of.
Does it feel, obviously – a win like Michigan State, I know people point out that Michigan State's a little bit down, but this is still a program that's been top-notch and has been tough for Maryland the last few years, right? Does something like that do something for you guys to elevate that belief and to say, hey, we're proving it now. What we believed internally, now we know it's factual. We can beat any team in this league.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan State's a good team, especially those conference games, those conference wins are definitely big. But we knew what we're capable of, so it's really like every game we go into knowing what we can do, and then we just play to our standard, not the other team or who they might be, but our standard of perfection. So, yeah.
Hey, Beau, there was always been talk at College Park about, and not just under Coach Loxley, but going back coaches before, about the lack of local guys. And Mike has done a really good job, it seems, of bringing in. By the way, I'm a Calvert Hall guy, so I'm very fond of Daniel Owens. there's been this talk all the time about local guys not sticking around, and you did that. You turned down offers from some other big time schools. Does this sort of vindicate your decision? You feel like, hey man, we're having a really good year. I'm having a really good year. Not that you haven't played well before, but does this season now feel like maybe you're vindicated a little bit for this decision?
Yeah, but I mean, just off a school standpoint, Maryland's a great school that I already knew that it was the right decision for me. But I feel like a lot of young players, high school players around the area might think it's a little bit of rolling the dice because of our we haven't been so productive in the past with our football. But making the standpoints we have and playing the big games we are playing and have already played just shows the younger generation of players that we are what we're talking about. We are a big team, and we go out every day playing how we know we can.
Was your dad mad because you didn't go to Virginia Tech?
He was a little upset during the process, but no, he understood.
I mean, look, I'm sure he's been very happy for you, right? That it worked out. Beau Brade with us here on GCR. The point, of course, Beau from Clarksville, went to River Hill, and I did not know that you were a huge Ravens fan growing up, and that, like, the Ravens were the thing for you. I know you guys got to go down before the season and be in the tunnel and high-fiving the guys ahead of a preseason game. What was that like for you as a kid who grew up loving the Ravens?
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, growing up, loving the Ravens mostly because of their, defense with Terrell Suggs, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and just being, in the same spot of those legends. And then, I mean, now I'm just like, I just like football, just in general, no matter who's playing, no exact team. My favorite player right now is Minkah Fitzpatrick and the Steelers safety. So
wait a second. Wait a second.
Oh, right?
Wait a second.
I didn't even hear that.
Beau.
I didn't hear that.
Beau. Come on, dude. Like, you're like talking about how much you love the Ravens. You can't. No, that's not okay.
I've been a Minkah fan since he was at Bama, but yeah.
Oh man. Okay, but like when the Ravens play the Steelers, you're still rooting for the Ravens, right?
Yeah, my family's a Ravens fan. Yes,
this
sir.
is a big answer from you.
Yeah, right.
This is a big answer.
Everything was going so well. Everything was going so well right up until that moment. I get it. We reluctantly will acknowledge he's a hell of a player. We will acknowledge that Minkah is a hell of a football player. Beau, the way that you've kind of broken out this season and have really been in the mix, making huge plays all throughout the course of the year. Did you feel something coming on for yourself this season? Did you kind of have that, like, again, confidence that this was going to be your opportunity to prove to the world what it is that you're capable of?
Yeah, I definitely felt like it was my chance to prove to people what I was capable of, especially since people didn't really know me too well. I knew that I had big shoes to fill, me and my really position room, because both of our starting safeties went to the next level. And so, that Sunday right after the bowl game, I was in here working out, and, it's not me, it's our safety room in general. Just we had big shoes to fill. So we've been working hard throughout practice and the all season, just making sure that, when the time comes, we do what we know we're capable of doing.
It's been working out all right for you, that's for sure. How do you guys stay grounded? Like, you guys, you get a big win and, it's followed up on a solid performance on the road. Like, how do you guys not get ahead of yourself and start thinking about, like, hey, Maryland fans are starting to think, like, maybe you guys could run the table and we could have College game day here for the Ohio State game or something like that. Like, fans get carried away. How do you guys make sure that you're not doing that and you're just thinking about, hey, Purdue, that's what we got to worry about?
Yeah, we just take it really 1 week at a time. We know that every team we play, especially in this conference, is a great team. They're going to give you your best every day. So we just make sure we know that we got to come out with the same energy every game, no matter who we play.
I mean, so far so good. What Drew brought up about staying local, how much do you sense that tide has turned? And Drew mentioned that Mike Locksley, of course, being a guy who's from D.C., he has gone out of his way to prioritize throughout his career keeping the talent from this area here. How much do you sense that maybe the tide has turned a little bit and more guys from Maryland, from the DMV, are going to choose Maryland in the coming years?
I think the tide has started turning already. You know, a lot of the top recruits from the last year are here now. You know, we have Jaden Saray, and then we have Octavian Smith, and then, you know, Jay Sean Barham. And, you know, these are freshmen that are already playing, too. You know, Preston Howard. So I think these young kids that are in high school see that, you know, players that they might have played against really at the high school level are playing now at Maryland, and Maryland's doing great things. So I think those are big things that, you know, they'll look at and be interested in.
You ever allow yourself to think about the dream, like that maybe one day you could put on the purple yourself and come running out of that tunnel? You ever, like, allow your mind to wander there at some point?
I mean, right now I'm trying, you know, one game at a time, but also looking at the next level. But, you know, yeah.
Yeah, it would be
long as it's not black and gold. You
Yeah,
can go anywhere except there.
That's gonna be. You know, there is a former River Hill to Ravens connection. Michael Campanaro, of course, once upon a time, who played at River Hill, ended up being a Baltimore Ravens. So there is some precedent for something like that to play out. Hey, Beau, social media-wise, where can Maryland fans be giving you a follow? Twitter, Instagram, anywhere like that. What can we plug for you?
Instagram, just my name, Beau Brade. Twitter, BE Brade, my last name at 02. And yeah, right there. So, yeah, Twitter and Instagram.
Give him a follow in those places. Beau, congratulations on what's already been an awesome season, man. Best of luck against Purdue on Saturday. Would love to chat again. Can't wait to see what's next for you guys as the season continues. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Beau Brade, Maryland safety with us here on GCR.
Nice. I smell an upset.
Oh, you're going to call Purdue on Saturday? What's wrong?
Should have mentioned that to him.
What's wrong? Yeah, I know. I'm sure he would have loved that.
Hey, Beau, I smell an upset.
Yeah, right. It's a weird.
It is weird to talk about Maryland football and be like, they're not losing to Purdue.
It's even weirder. So I'm
Who are they playing?
because I care so much about Maryland. Everything's a trap to me, right? Like when I see 2 weeks ago Maryland's only a 14-point dog to Michigan. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it should be 38.
No.
Right.
I've watched way too much Maryland football in my life to fall for that trap.
Right.
And of course, you know, they fight like hell and they make it a one-score game. So then the next week they're
it's called a cover, by the way.
It is. They
just
definitely covered.
Just so you know.
And I didn't have that.
I was told that's what it's called.
Oh yeah, you heard that somewhere. Then last week they're 7.5-point favorites against Michigan State, and you're like,
yeah, right. Really?
What? Look at the schedule right now. They're
4-1. They could easily win the next 4.
That's the crazy part.
They could be 8-1, no question about it.
Like, the crazy part is Purdue at Indiana, Northwestern at Wisconsin. Now, I get it. Like, maybe by firing the coach at Wisconsin,
stub your toe in one of those. But I think they got a good chance to be 8-1.
They have a legitimate chance to be 8-1.
And realistically, if they aren't 7-2 at a minimum,
yeah, in some way that's a little bit disappointing.
Yeah,
right. Like, which is it's nuts to say that, but at this point, it would almost be disappointing if they were to only win 2 of those next 4. Right. But like then you start imagining like what if they're 8-1 going to Penn State, because we talked about this a lot over the years. Whatever you are, sometimes your record can inflate that, right? Like that.
Well, sure.
You know, you could be a decent team, but your record makes you say no.
The Giants are a good example of that right now. The Giants are 3-1.
Right.
They're not going to win 8 games.
None of us
are going to win 7 games. The Giants aren't going to win 7 games.
They do get to play.
Well, that's true.
Washington.
Well, that's true.
Dallas obviously has been much better than we thought they were going to be.
But the Giants are 3-1, and
yeah, I hear you.
They have no business being 3-1.
But at some point, you go from 3-1 to 8-1. It kind of doesn't matter what we thought you were.
Right.
You are what you are. And then all of a sudden, internally, you believe that you're that good. And I'm not saying that Maryland's ready to go beat Penn State on the road, but who knows?
Right.
Who knows? You start getting carried away.
Sure.
All right, we got to get to Would You Rather Wednesday when we come back in. Have you covered the phishing scandal at Drew's Morning Dish?
I haven't, but I saw it.
It's the greatest story.
I haven't, but it doesn't beat the thing last week.
Well, no, nothing beats the. By the way, I believe that they came out this week and said, like the chess organization said, we believe it to be true. I got to double check.
I want to see that press release.
It's sure. October, but the story of the year is over.
Oh,
there is no beating this story.
chess investigation. You know what? Let's talk about it when we come back. We're so far. I've only taken one break. We got 3 more breaks to take. Take a break. We'll talk about it, and then we'll get into Would You Rather Wednesday. Drew Forrester's here. Drew'sMorningDish.com. Glenn Clark Radio. See Olympic athletes in action as the nation's best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Academy, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. Don't miss the breathtaking excitement of the dynamic cross-country competition or the elegance of dressage and precision of show jumping. There's also great shopping and activities, including a fresh food fest, corgi race, and a beer, wine, and spirits showcase. So come enjoy a beautiful fall day at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th. Learn more and buy tickets at maryland5star.us.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stecca and Alloy Sports' Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
Join Glenn at halftime of every Ravens game for the Project Game Day halftime show at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. We apologize in advance. There's not much we can do about his face.
And did he go there? Like, is that the Corday went to Towson?
He went there for like a semester.
I never knew that. And apparently, like one day last year, he just showed up trying to play basket.
I was very because I wasn't, for whatever reason, I wasn't on campus that day, and I was like, why wasn't I there?
He just showed up.
Yeah,
like and wanted to play basketball.
Yes, he did.
So do you know the story? This is a true. I swear I knew nothing about the story. So Corday is a rapper, dating Naomi Osaka. Apparently went to Towson for a little while and showed up one day last year just trying to play basketball at the Towson Center, or maybe it was at. Hang on a second.
Sorry, Drew.
You missed his.
Should
have played
for the
They were good last year. I'm not sure if you.
They were.
That's right.
Stop. They were good. They not in the CAA tournament, but they were good. Settle down. So he shows up just trying to get a run. And maybe not even at the Towson. Maybe it was at Burdick. Was that where it was?
Yeah, well, Burdick is part of Towson.
So they get there, and Naomi Osaka's there with them. And she goes to walk in, but she has a dog. And the people at Burdick say,
can't bring the dog in.
You can't come in.
Service dog. All you got to say is it's a service
That's
dog.
a good point. She probably should.
If you just say service dog, you're good.
To Naomi Osaka.
I know, or she could say I'm the number 1 tennis player.
Yeah, anything like that.
That won't work as well as the service dog thing.
They say to Naomi Osaka, "Sorry, you're out of luck." So apparently, he just went ahead and played basketball, and she just sat in the car.
I love it.
For like an hour and a half. Naomi Osaka just sitting in a car.
I love it.
On campus at Towson.
With her dog.
With her dog. While Corday was in playing basketball.
Well, they had a big protest the other day, a big political protest the other day.
It's not my apartment.
Yeah.
I don't know. How does it help me?
People love showing up on the campus and, like with their praise Jesus signs. That happens often.
I do that all the time. So that might be me.
Yeah.
They say far worse things than
Hey,
praise Jesus.
If you missed, we're gonna move on.
Okay.
If you missed it, Stan the Fan, Charles Ross Grimsley hosted a bit of a roundtable on Monday to put the finishing touches on Orioles season. You can find it right now. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video.
Who's won the World Series?
I assume it's the Astros, right? Like, I assume it. I know the Braves are the team. Like, right now, if you were betting, they're the horse to bet on at the moment, right?
They're hot, and they
Because
came in.
They're red hot.
16 to
They're
last
already
21
winning
or whatever.
playoff-like games at this point. Like, nobody is handling the moment.
I mean, that was pretty impressive last weekend.
It's incredible.
When they beat DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bassett 3 in a row.
Correct.
I mean, can you imagine the Mets with 8 days left in the season? They have a 2-game lead, and they say, "Oh, no matter what happens."
And if they just
that
win
weekend,
and if they just win one, they've got the tiebreaker.
That weekend,
yes,
we've got DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bassett going. We're good.
Lined it up.
I got a weird feeling Toronto might win it.
I don't think so. I guess they have a chance. Obviously,
Why?
Because they can hit.
They can hit. I understand.
They can
that.
hit, and all they need to do is cobble together. I know their bullpen's been. Their bullpen's been hurt, but I don't know, man. I just have a weird feeling they're coming out of the American League.
I don't know. I don't see it.
My pick's gonna be the Dodgers since everyone's
really?
overlooking them for some
That's
reason.
the fun. You know what's really funny about that? Like you react that way, but you know damn well.
Oh yeah,
no one is picking the Dodgers.
They could lose for sure
because they always lose.
Right.
The only time they ever won is when it wasn't real.
Right.
Like
no doubt.
they, for whatever reason,
you won that one, but it's a half a ring.
Yeah, right. Like yes, technically it counts. Like nobody's saying give it back, but we all know it wasn't real.
Right. Be like winning an NFL Super Bowl when the season was only 10 games.
And they didn't play the games, and they played all the games in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Like it wasn't a real
I just have
World
a weird
Series.
feeling Toronto's the team.
It's an interesting.
I don't know.
I can't join you there.
16-1 right now.
I have
Toronto. There's a man after my own heart. Right away. Went right for the betting line.
Yeah, he knew. I continue to operate under the Astros are just the most complete.
This season Verlander had is unreal.
How is it possible?
He didn't dive into the fountain of youth. He dove into the ocean of youth.
We had a conversation.
I wrote about it today. Do you realize his ERA is 1.75?
It's not.
His WHIP is .083.
It's insane.
083. He doesn't even allow a base runner or an inning.
It's bonkers.
18-4, 28 starts. You know how many times this year he allowed more than 3 earned runs? I'm sorry. How many times this year he allowed 1 earned run or less out of 28 starts? 1 earned run or less in 28 starts.
28 starts. He allowed 1 earned run or less 5 times.
Try 20.
Shut up.
He allowed 20 earned runs. I mean, he in 20 games, he allowed 1 earned run or less. Listen to this. Here's a better stat for you. In 2 games this year, he allowed more than 3 earned runs. 2. He allowed 4 and 6. Ready? If he allows 3 earned runs in both of those games, just 3, his ERA is 1.4.
All right, so I got to tell you,
it's unreal.
What I just did there is I assumed.
Oh, by the way, he had Tommy John surgery. He's 39.
Right, hang on.
He had Tommy John surgery a year ago.
What I assumed is it was a large number, so I needed to go with a number smaller than that in order to get the payoff, which was you saying, no, you're way off. Like, it's 12. Because my thought was it might be around 10.
It was 20.
So I said, let's go lower than that so I can get the payoff of Drew being like, you're an idiot.
Right.
It's 12.
Well, you are an idiot. It's 20.
Yeah, as it turns out, I could have said 12.
And you'd have been way off.
You would have been able to get the exact same.
It's incredible.
It's unbelievable. That is unbelievable, man.
He has 244 career wins. And, 250 now is the new 300, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
when you get to you get to 250 now,
right.
You're probably a first ballot Hall of Famer in the way that you are if you get to 300.
Give me quickly 3 priorities for you for the Orioles offseason.
Well, if the I mean, you probably heard this as much as I've heard it, that they're interested in Swanson and Rodon. I mean, either one of those guys would be awesome, right? I mean, obviously, if it's Swanson, then Mateo, something happens there.
Look, man,
but
I hate feeling this way.
I love the Rodon thing. I think
I'm not making any decision based around Jorge Mateo. I'm not making.
Okay, so there you go. So go sign Dansby Swanson. But if you said priority and you gave me, you wanted me to put it in order, I would say that Rodon is the number 1 priority. Left-handed, they don't have one of those that's any good. The Zimmerman guy's no good. He went to Loyola. He
wasn't even on the team.
I think Rodon would be a great signing for them.
This guy. He acts like he went to Calvert Hall. Like he acts like it's in his blood.
Well, it is in my blood.
He's been around for like 6 years.
My kids, no, I've been there 11 years. By the way,
been 11
It has been 11 years. So that would be number 1. Number 1 priority would be a starting pitcher or 2. I do think they're going to bring Lyles back.
Rodon's been my guy the entire time. I am just more and more convinced that we're being ridiculous. That they're not paying that price. Like I think when we started this, with Rodon, we believed that he wasn't going to be a $200 million pitcher. That was part of the reason why we identified Rodon as the guy that made the most sense, is because we looked at it and said, here's the guy that you got to get a real contract to, but it's not the ungodly contract to. And I think that he started moving more towards the ungodly contract territory, and I don't believe that the Orioles are going there yet. And some of that is until I see it, I won't believe it, right? Like, because they don't do that. That's not been how they've operated. And then I also worry, like, there's also still the part of me that's caught up on the, if they do that, are they really doing more? And if they're not, I don't think they're one starting pitcher away from being ready to make a move towards being a World Series contender.
I know Bassett's got a mutual option thing. He'd be a tier 2 guy, I guess, if you will. Better than Lyles, not as good as Rodon, but I think Bassett would be a nice, he's had some American League experience. I like him. They clearly need a catcher.
Right.
So
they gotta get that figured out.
So I would say what they really need is just more pitching. I think guys like Kramer and Bradish are written in as starters, next March or next April. But is there any train of thought at all that if you were to get a couple of quality starters, then, they become bullpen guys who spot start here and there? I don't know. And then I think you've got to make a determination, and maybe it requires one more year, but maybe you got to start deciding what you're going to do with Austin Hayes long term. Like, is he going to be part of this or not?
Again, I'm not making any decision based
around
Austin Hayes.
So there you go. Like, is there an outfielder that you could go out and get numbers-wise that's better? Clearly, he would cost a lot more because Hayes is cheap. I'm going to give you the name of a guy I'd love to see them go get, but I don't want to give him $25 million either, and that's J.D. Martinez. But I would not want to overpay for him.
While I
but if J.D.
understand
Martinez wants to come and play for a reasonable salary,
adding a thumper to the middle of the lineup is absolutely something.
He's just going to be the DH, right? But and you got Santander who kind of sort of does the same thing.
And it comes back to the question of how much are you planning on having Adley Rutschman catch? Like, that's the biggest, not the biggest, but one of the bigger issues that faces the Orioles right now is they're kind of holding 2 positions for Adley Rutschman. Like, they're holding catcher, and part of the decision they made on Trey Mancini was we're not going to sign him back because we're not going to pay somebody to be a DH when Adley Rutschman's going to have to be the DH.
25 games a year or whatever.
It's way more than 25.
Okay.
I mean,
you don't think he'll catch 140 games?
I don't think
next
there's
year?
a chance in hell.
Okay.
I think the question's more like, is he going to catch 100 games next year?
Okay.
Look at the.
So then you're eliminating Chirinos.
You would have to do better from your backup catcher. Like, you have to get more production from whoever your second catcher is, because there's going to be way too many times.
Here's what I would say to you. I would agree with that if your numbers are right. If Rutschman's going to catch 110 games or 105.
So this season, so let's project this. This season, he caught
75 games.
He caught 83 games.
Okay.
He DH'd 23 times.
Okay.
So that's in 106 games, right?
This ought to be good.
Oh, I have to.
I
can't do this by head.
Here we go.
You think I'm doing this by
Here's
head?
what your Perry Hall education gets you, kids.
Not a chance of that. So 83 divided by 106 is he caught 78% of the time. So
30% of the game. So 20% of the games.
162.
So there's 130.
It'd be 126.
Yeah.
Okay.
126 is the number.
So here's how you solve this. If those numbers are right, and he's going to catch next year 125 to 130.
By the way, if that's what they're going to do, because I don't think that number is going up.
Okay.
I think it's more likely
but if that's
to go
the number,
the other
if
way.
they sit down this offseason and they say, here's the deal, assuming he's healthy the whole year, we're going to let him catch 125 games max.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find somebody else to catch you to 37.
Mm-hmm. You think you can survive a Torino's type for 37 games?
Yeah, because I think there's some value to him, and it's
not
clearly not at the plate.
Yeah,
but you also have to remember.
Oh no, he was before Adley Rutschman. Torino's was doing an excellent job with the staff.
Correct.
Like, there's no question about that.
And also remember, it isn't easy to do what they're asking him to do.
Right, to come in cold and
sure.
Yep.
I'm not saying he would be a 250 hitter if he caught 125 games or anything like that, but. If you knew going into the season you were going to catch 60 games, I think your numbers would be better. You'd be getting more plate appearances. You'd be fresher, right? But I'm going to say to you, if they say that number's 110, which you kind of alluded to before, now I don't know that I'm going to have him catching 50. If he catches 52 games, that's almost 2 games a week. You can't trot a 180 guy out there or a 200 guy out there other than Odor. You can't trot him out there 2 days a week.
Well, you can't do that again. You can't do that. I know.
Don't be surprised.
I understand, but you can't. Like I know. I'm just still going to say.
The only thing I've Mr. Roper loved Suzanne Summers more than the Orioles love Odor.
That's true. That's a good point.
Barely.
That's a good point.
Anyway, I think pitching. I do think if they need to make a decision with Austin Hayes, and I don't know that the time has come to fish or cut bait with him, and I don't know that he has any trade value. I also think that there is a chance that maybe, and I don't know which one I'm talking about. I'm not saying it's Westberg or Ortiz or one of those guys, but they got
they have
4 or 5 guys
of middle infield, and especially if you're thinking about signing a shortstop this offseason,
right?
All of a sudden, you don't have enough.
You package Westberg and Cowser and Hayes? Just use those 3. Can you package those 3 guys up and get?
Right.
I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But can you go get a look? The Yankees gave up. The Yankees got Harrison Bader, or I should flip this. The Cardinals gave up Harrison Bader and got Jordan Montgomery. Like when that trade happened, I almost drove off the road. I'm like, what on earth are the Yankees thinking about?
Right. Well,
like, what are you doing?
I hear you.
So if that trade can be made, the Orioles could get anything for those 3 guys.
Not anything, but
but something reasonable.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get exactly what it is that you're saying. The issue that I'm gonna have when you throw in Colton Cowser there,
I'm just using that. It could be any of them.
I think that you're identifying Colton Cowser as like. I love Cedric Mullins, right? But I don't know how long they can go with having a mediocre arm in center field. And Cedric Mullins covers enough ground.
Mediocre call, by the way, and said,
I hear you,
hey,
right?
Take it easy.
I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to be fair. It's not like
Johnny Damon called and said, man,
that's fair.
That guy's arm's lousy.
I think that you are prioritizing the Colton
By the way, he almost
Cowsers.
had 3,000 hits in his career. Do you know that?
I remember we talked about
Johnny
this
Damon
before.
almost had.
I think
Look that up there.
I think we remember we
Chris.
had this
How many
conversation.
hits did he have?
Oh, Chris.
Good old Chris.
Where'd that come from?
He looks like a Chris to me.
What?
He looks like a Chris to me. Didn't anybody ever tell you that?
Hey, by the way, are you fasting
like
today
a
or
Chris?
not?
I did not fast.
You
no.
did not fast.
Thanks for calling me out.
You could have lied.
But did anybody ever
you're
tell
right,
you
I
that
guess I
you look like a Chris?
No. I mean, no.
What is that?
I'm just saying.
Damon had 2,000.
By the way, to all those who are a peaceful fast, to all of you who are
Yes.
fasting.
Listen to this.
2,769.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I
I know,
hits
it's crazy.
for Johnny
What are you
Damon.
fasting for, by the way?
Yom Kippur.
Oh, okay.
Or I
good.
should be.
What are you fasting for?
I didn't know.
It's a pretty significant day, man.
I understand that, but I didn't know that's why he was fasting.
All right.
He's a whiz.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think specifically you can move Colton Cowser because I think Colton Cowser has to be your center fielder within the next 2 years.
Then package package Mullins up and move him.
Yeah, I think there's a limit to what you can get from Mullins because of his age. I think you'd have to be looking at something else. Like
that's my point.
I'd almost be looking at multiple infield at this point. Like I'd be looking at both Westberg and Norby, for example. Like I'd be looking.
Can any of that? Wow. Mountcastle developed into a very good defensive first baseman. So when I say can any of them play first base, sounds like I'm taking a shot at him as a defensive player, and I'm not, because he is really good defensively, but his bat is so hot and cold.
You have to be more, and you have to get on base more than he's gotten on base to be promised first base, like to be promised that a position where you have to get production from, or is just a position where you put somebody else that can't.
There's a guy in Chicago, although he didn't have a.
No.
He had a really nice
when
August.
when he played in Baltimore, it was a world beater.
No doubt.
All right, quickly, this is the update on the chess thing.
Oh.
And then we'll get a break, and then we'll play with your other Wednesday.
This is the greatest story.
From CNN. Teenage chess grandmaster Hans Niemann, quote, likely cheated, unquote, in more than 100 online matches, including ones with prize money involved, according to an investigation by one of the sport's most popular websites. The 72-page report by Chess.com was released on Tuesday.
That's a little extreme.
Yeah, it doesn't seem necessary. A month after controversy erupted at a top tournament when the world chess champion accused the 19-year-old American of cheating. According to the report, first referenced by the Wall Street Journal, Niemann privately confessed to cheating to the website's chief chess officer in 2020. Which led to him being temporarily banned from the platform. The report said Chess.com closed Niemann's account in September, given his previous acknowledgments of cheating, suspicions about his recent play, and concerns about the inconsistent rise in his rank.
How?
We already had the conversation.
No. I know. Let me rephrase that. I know what the mechanism was. I'm asking, how do you cheat in chess?
Maybe somebody was
somebody else gets to watch, and you have other people helping you with the decisions that you're making.
Okay, so there you go. So they're saying to you, move your. You explained it. My point being, I'm playing you in chess. You have no idea what I'm going to do. Now, once I make the move, now you can cheat, if that's the word.
Right.
Now you can get assistance. Mm-hmm. But you don't know what I'm doing next. You have no idea what I'm doing next.
Well, that's true, but you could.
But I'm just trying to figure out how all of this. I get it.
But you have an amount of time. I
sent you the one thing last week and said, "Go ahead and try this yourself. See if it helps you."
Yeah.
No, I get it, but like it's
weird. It hasn't made me any better at this.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like I understand in poker,
I might keep using it anyway.
Right. Yeah, right. I understand in poker, if I see your cards somehow,
correct.
I
did bring this up with
massive advantage.
I was like, so with those TV tournaments where like we see what somebody else's hand is. I mean, somebody knows what the hand is.
I would assume there's a delay there, but maybe not.
I would assume. Well, they don't.
Well, then if there was a delay, it would make it worse.
They broadcast some of them live.
Yeah,
they did.
But that's my point about chess. Like I believe this guy cheated, and I think he found a unique way to do it.
Oh, a very unique way to do it.
But
yes,
I'm trying to figure out how. Now you said it. Someone smarter than him. It would be akin to me going to a chess tournament,
right,
and having the device,
right,
and someone when I go to move the rook, when I put my hand on the rook,
the guy clearly knows how to play. This guy is clearly a chess player.
That's the whole thing too. Like I don't have to even give the name, and if I did, nobody would know who it is anyway. There was a guy in the 90s who cheated in the Maryland Amateur Stroke Play.
Okay.
And was in my group. I didn't catch him. It was masterful what he did, but he got caught. And the irony of it
was he stuffing lead weights in his face?
No. The irony of it was...
Should be in jail!
He didn't have to cheat. He was really, really good.
Okay.
So, now, what he was doing was, if he had a 25-foot putt for birdie, he was walking up with a towel in his hand and dropping a dime halfway to the hole and picking it up. That's how he was cheating.
Okay.
But he didn't have to do that.
Right. He could have just played and been very good. Right.
Right. So this guy was an accomplished chess player. What we got to cheat for?
So this report does not confirm the anal bead portion
Okay.
of the story. All it says.
Well, then we got to do more research.
Yeah, right. We need a little bit more. We have to get to the bottom. No pun intended.
Right.
The bottom
Right.
of whether this unfolded. Because if it did, my God, innovative. I mean, we open up an entirely new world.
You got to really start considering how you can use it.
Maybe those dudes in fishing could have just had someone else like checking where all the fish are on radar and hitting them with the jolt in order to go get the real fish. Like maybe they didn't need to do all the weight stuffing.
It's a great story.
They could have gone the other way.
It's almost as good as the story about the West Virginia football player broke into their house
yes,
with his sweatpants. With the number of his sweatpants
on his sweatpants. Yes. Hey man, these things.
Honey, look up number 77 in the game program. Is that it actually looks just like the guy that was in our house just now?
Really weird. Really weird. All right, when we come back in, we're going to play Would You Rather Wednesday. Drew Forrester is here. Today's show is also brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. If you want to bet on an upcoming chess tournament, you can do that in the FanDuel Sportsbook. And right now, any $25 futures bet on the Super Bowl, you can register at FanDuel.com/SBNAZ to win 2 tickets to the Super Bowl in Arizona. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
See Olympic athletes in action as the nation's best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Academy, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. Don't miss the breathtaking excitement of the dynamic cross-country competition or the elegance of dressage and precision of show jumping. There's also great shopping and activities, including a fresh food fest, corgi race, and a beer, wine, and spirits showcase. So come enjoy a beautiful fall day at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th. Learn more and buy tickets at maryland5star.us.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bo Smolka profiles Ravens tight end Mark Andrews' path to NFL stardom, from his late decision to play the sport full-time through having to overcome type 1 diabetes and more. Also, inside, we introduce you to football players at Maryland, Navy, Towson, and Morgan State. And we give you everything you need to know for betting football this season. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores. And you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Demos, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
If you can't listen or watch live, you can subscribe to the show via Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review while you're there. Or, if lying isn't your thing, we'll take a 3.5-star review too.
All right, back in here on...
Orioles made a roster move.
Oh, I'm sure it's big.
No, they did.
Yeah?
They added Nick Vespi to the roster for
good.
today.
You get to have an extra man for a doubleheader. Are we going to talk about
Do you believe they didn't?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that or not? Like, it's very weird. I started, like 2 weeks ago, I started having this conversation. I'm like, it's really strange how we're just all agreeing not to talk about this. That they're just having Grayson Rodriguez go out and throw innings at AAA for funsies.
Why not give him a start?
Why not give him? Why not throw him in the bullpen when you had no bullpen arms and the game still mattered? Why not see if maybe that guy could help?
Yeah.
Instead of continue to throw out Joey Crable and Brian Baker, who could not.
Although Baker was good against the Yankees the other day.
That's fine. I mean,
he was really good.
He was.
Once a week, he's pretty good.
He was at the beginning of the season, and then again at the end of the season. In between, it was not so great. I can't believe we just sort of all.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you want to see? I realize it's a very small sample size, and if he makes 3 starts, and he gives up 9 runs in 3 starts, but wouldn't you want to see him once or twice?
I don't need him to. That was the weird.
I don't have to start.
The argument was, well, they want to stretch him out down there, but stretch him out for what?
Yeah, the season's over.
Like, what are you stretching him out for? Like, what is the point of that? I am so bloody confused. And
if DL Hall comes back in March with that necklace on, I'm going to go insane.
I don't know what you're worked up about for that. Come on, man.
How do you pitch effectively with that thing hanging off of your neck?
I mean, he's done it a few times. He's pitched effectively a few times. For what it's worth, the best argument is that Grayson Rodriguez was not, dominant when he was returned. Like, that he didn't necessarily prove that he needed to be at the major league level. So that's the best argument you could make is...
But wouldn't you want to have an inkling?
Yeah.
That next April he might... I mean, are you going to just throw him out there 5 times in spring training and say, okay, he's ready?
Does it not make you wonder if they're not planning on having him here on opening day next year?
1,000,000%.
That's definitely what it makes me wonder.
I mean, I would say that he's a late May guy.
That they internally say... he needs to graduate still. Like that or
we go through this all the time. Like, we hate it, but we understand it. You're going to bring him up on April the 5th and cost yourself a year, or are you going to wait till March 24th?
Well,
May 24th.
But the question is, are you costing you? The rules have changed, right? Like, and that the rules for everybody else this season changed to the point that all of the guys were here on opening day. Everywhere else in baseball, except for Adley Rutschman because he was hurt.
Right.
Everybody else was here on opening day this season because of the way the rules changed.
Right.
So the question becomes, did they change for the Orioles? Because for everybody else in baseball, they changed. But for the Orioles, we didn't get to learn because Adley Rutschman wasn't available.
Right.
The belief from everybody who covered the Orioles was he was going to be here on opening day. But was it convenient for the Orioles? And they weren't planning on it. And they are still saying we are not going to run any risk at all of scenario where we don't have an extra year of this particular player. And if we call him up later, it's less likely for them to end up in the top 5 of whatever Rookie of the Year voting, or I don't even remember what the thing is.
Rutschman will be the MVP of the league next year.
I mean, that would be great. I don't think he would be, but it would be tremendous.
I'll look for that. I'll look that up in the offseason.
Tell me what you want to bet.
I'll look it up in the offseason. We'll see what the number. Our boy's going to do it right now.
No, just between you and I. Between you
well,
and
I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. I'll eat one of those Oreo cookie sandwich things
you
again.
You want to eat what Griffin had to eat the other day? Had to eat it was called the hoop fish bake.
If it's got fish in it, I'll probably have to pass.
Yeah, it was pollock and SpaghettiOs in a casserole with broccoli and
it's terrible.
Other things.
Oh, I don't know about that. Dish that up for me.
What? What is wrong with you, you psycho?
That Oreo thing I ate.
I know, you love that.
That was good.
You wanted to have 12
of
them.
What was that? What was it again?
It was Spam and Oreo.
Oh, right. Oh, my gosh. It was so... Oh, dude. You haven't lived till you had this thing.
Stop.
It was so good.
Yeah, Griffin's had a rough couple of weeks in side bets. He also had to eat a Richard Petty sandwich, which is...
Oh, that salt and pepper thing?
Just mayonnaise and pepper. Nothing. Just a big layer of mayonnaise.
I think I could do that, too.
And a big layer. It's a lot of pepper, dog.
You know what this will teach you, young man, is you don't wager on these sporting events.
Correct. It's a dumb decision. All right, Would You Rather Wednesday is brought to you by Glory Days Grill. If you haven't tried the Oktoberfest menu at Glory Days Grill, I don't know what it is that you're waiting for. It's delicious. The chicken schnitzel the Bavarian burger on the pretzel bun, the Brewer's sausage platter, the Brewer's sausage sandwich, the Slam Dunk pretzels, the cheddar ale soup. Drew, we might want to think about moving up our annual trip to Glory Days for the coat drive a little bit, so that the Oktoberfest menu is still
I'm
going
up for that.
on. Like, it is that good. GloryDaysGrill.com is the website for you to get your order in. All right, would you rather, number one.
Okay, here we go.
Would you rather your team be the team that always goes for it on fourth down? Always. Unless it's beyond 10 yards. Or never, under any circumstances, goes for it on fourth down?
Oh, jeez, this is a dumb question.
Then give the answer.
This is so stupid.
What's the answer?
I mean, the answer is you'd rather than be the team that goes for it. It gives you
But
four downs.
would you? Would you rather be the team that on 4th and 8 from your own 22-yard line is going for it? Really?
Well, as opposed to it's 4th and 1 on their 47 and you punt it?
Yeah, I don't love that, but it's not reckless.
I don't know. This is such a dumb question.
Well, I'm asking it. You have to answer it. You keep saying it's dumb. You're not giving me an answer.
Yeah, give me the 4th and 1 where we never go for it.
You're going the other way.
Change my mind.
Of course, you've changed your mind. Griffin?
I would always go for it.
So it's
already kind of want to do
That's the way you kids are.
Yeah, I mean,
you'll find out in life it doesn't work that way, Chief. You better be
the
conservative.
problem is the uniqueness of the question. The uniqueness of the question. Like
the question's stupid. That's
what you're saying.
The uniqueness of it.
Well, I'm trying to pin people down because they're
okay.
What you're saying, of course, is what everybody wants to believe. Yeah, I want to be the team. Let's always just go for it. Forget
just
punting.
throw up 3-pointers the whole time.
Exactly right. But you don't actually want to be that team. There's a reason why we know that what they did on Sunday was wrong. You don't actually always, like sometimes it's a good idea, but between one or the other, no. The answer is I am with Drew on this.
Repeat that again real quick. I feel like
I know.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Can
you say that for me just the way you said it just now? One more time for me.
Did you happen? There was a lot of news related to the G League basketball last night.
I saw the dude. I saw the guy.
The guy everybody's talking about. Wembenyama. Is that? Make sure I know how to pronounce.
How tall is he?
7'4", and he plays like a guard.
Well, I saw the one shot where he dribbled into he dribbled from the top of the key, and then he like hit this off balance left-handed shot,
very smooth.
bank shot.
It's just as smooth as.
Where's this dude from?
France.
Oh well, that means he's soft.
I don't think we have to worry about that too much. I don't know. They said that about Kevin Durant. How'd that work out?
He wasn't from France.
They said he was soft. He couldn't bench press his own weight. And how'd it work out?
So this guy going to be the first pick?
Oh, by far he's going to be the first pick. But that wasn't.
I love it.
That wasn't the only story.
He's 18 years old. I didn't even know that.
18 years old.
Okay.
Victor Wembanyama. But that wasn't the only story that came out.
Was that one word?
Yeah. Victor Wembanyama.
Oh, Victor
Wembanyama.
This is like Chrissy Economaki. I always thought his name was Chrissy Economaki.
But it's Chris
Economaki. Right. It's one of my old ones too.
So there was another player in a G League, whatever this thing was last night.
Okay.
That got a little bit of attention.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you what this
wasn't Antonio Brown, was it?
It wasn't Antonio Brown.
Because he got some attention.
Yeah, he sure did. It was somebody with a very specific name. Someone whose last name
No, it's
is
not.
very specific.
No, it isn't.
Yep. That's
it's not.
That's not something that was made up on the internet.
It is not his real name.
That is legitimately.
Where's he from?
I actually don't know.
Also
where he's
France.
From. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. How about that? Steve.
No, you're not. No, it's not his name.
Ho you fat.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
there's no way that's
the
his
remarkable
name.
part about this story was he's 34 years old. Like I can't
There's
believe we're
no
only
way
learning
that's
about
his
this
name.
guy now. Steve Hoyufat is a French basketball player who plays for the Metropolitans 92 in LNB Pro A.
There's no way.
Steve Hoyufat. And by the way,
And it's 3 words.
and it's spelled Hoyou. It's not YOO. It's spelled exactly Steve Hoyufat. So, Drew
You know, the
Ford-
weirdest part is we used to say this all the time when we played Old Mill in
Yeah,
football.
I knew you were going there, and I appreciate it. I'm glad that wasn't wasted.
To the cheerleaders from Old Mill.
Would you rather spend 10 years of your adolescence? Hey, let me get there.
Oh, my God.
Would you rather spend 10 years of your adolescence with the last name Ho You Fat, or spend the next 10 years of your life living as one of the guys that was busted in the fishing cheating scandal this weekend.
Man, I'm going to probably.
I can't believe you didn't see that.
I'm going to take the kid. I'm going to take. Give me the.
You'd rather be a kid
because
named Ho You Fat.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially now. Like, you wouldn't have wanted it in 1981. I think now might be okay.
But in your adolescence.
But you don't.
Your adolescence. Not now. You got to go back in your adolescence.
Yeah.
At Glen Burnie. At Glen Burnie, you're going to have the name Ho You Fat.
Yeah, you would have had a tough time at Glen Burnie.
What kind of shape were you in when you were
back in those days?
Yeah,
you would have been in trouble.
Yeah, it would have probably been a pretty unpleasant 10 years.
Yeah, it would have been.
Which would you rather?
I probably would be the fishing guy.
Yeah, you'd be the guy. You should be in jail. That's
right.
theft.
Right.
You should be in jail.
I don't know which one. This is a dumb question, too.
It's called Would You Rather. I don't know if you heard. It's a parlor game. Yeah.
Ho You
I'll give you a more direct one on the third one for what it's worth. Yeah, the guy's name is Ho You Fat. I'm telling you, as a kid who grew up in Perry Hall, I definitely would rather be the guy cheating. Like, I would not. I had enough problems going for me at that point. I did not need to have the name Ho You Fat on top of everything else. That would not have been a good look.
No doubt.
For your boy. Now, again, to your point, maybe nowadays things have changed.
Yeah, everybody's soft today.
There's less, maybe we've realized that bullying is not great. Maybe it's not about being soft. Maybe we've realized it's not. Maybe there's a different way of looking at it.
Gotcha.
Like,
you know what we did back in those days? We toughened people up.
Is that what we did? That's what that was?
That's what we did in Glen Burnie in the old days. We toughened you up.
Yeah, I think if the past 10 years of my life, my name was Griffin Ho You Fat, I think I'd probably be better off than I am now.
What?
So I think I don't see there is much negative with that as a.
I agree with him.
As your
What is
last
it?
name.
What does it mean?
And these fishing guys will probably be seeking me out. Like they seem crazy. They were
change your name to
crying
Chris.
Wait. I'm so confused by why you think it would be better for your name to be Griffin Ho You Fat.
People would know. I mean, I don't know. People would just know about me.
Okay.
They'd be like, "What's his name?"
I've changed my mind. I'm not. You know what? Just whatever. That's fine. Whatever you're.
And I don't want to be. I don't think I'd be able to leave the house with these fishing guys.
You're 10 years old. You're 11 years old. You're in 6th grade. And the kids.
I'd be the coolest kid in school.
You would not.
Is there any way you could pronounce it differently?
At North Carroll Middle.
Could you pronounce it differently?
Hoy.
Like,
I mean,
there's a name. We could come up with a bunch of these, right? But there's a couple of names.
I had a name recently that ended in FUK. I'm not kidding.
Okay,
I worked
so like
a soccer match recently.
There was a player for the Chicago Sting in the old days named Charlie Ficus. Fajakus.
Right.
You could mispronounce
correct.
that.
There was a famous
so
scene
like Young Wei Koo.
Couldn't we call ourselves
Hoyofat? Yeah,
Hoyofat?
you could try to, but it says.
Or how about if we just say the FAT is not pronounced? It's silent. Ho-you.
I mean, I guess.
What's your last name? Ho-you.
Try that.
Well, what about the fat part? Yeah, that's
here's
silent.
my problem, because I got a bunch of people who are
I
like,
gotta go.
Oh, you got to go? All right,
go
quickly.
ahead. Go ahead.
The Ravens are going to make a bold trade. Would you rather it be for DJ Moore or Roquan Smith?
Hold on.
What are you doing? You just said you had to go. The man, did you not hear that? He just said he had to go.
I do. I'm answering this.
I'll take
DJ Moore.
Okay. Is there a reason why, or?
Yeah.
Have you? Well, I don't know. Have you seen the inside linebacker play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take the wide receiver. We got to score some points.
Right, fair enough.
All right, we'll see.
DrewsMorningDish.com. It's a hooded for on Twitter. I guess. Thank you for stopping by. I'm not. It's good to see you, pal. What? It's his back. Yeah, we got a new chair. By the way, you got a new chair out there. It's sitting in a box. Yeah, we were so excited about you coming. We didn't bother to put it together. But yeah, we got a new chair for you. I still don't understand your Ho You Fat answer, but we're just gonna roll with it.
I think I'd be like the coolest kid in school. People would be like, "Oh, here comes Ho You Fat."
Like you're thinking about high school. You're thinking about like down the road. You're not thinking about your adolescence. You're not thinking about kids who are just inclined to be mean at all times dealing with the fact that your name is Ho You Fat.
I was tough in middle school too. Dude. I could take it.
Okay.
I could take it.
Right, thank you.
Also, and I'd be able to bounce back.
Also, nobody in the world, like the fishing people, that matters in the fishing community.
I wouldn't be able to show my face at the pond anymore.
Yeah,
like
you find somewhere else to go.
They'd seek me out.
You
Is
go
what I'm worried
bowling
about.
on a Tuesday
They
night. They
were
don't know who you are.
Screaming murder.
I understand that, but the people at the bowling alley are not aware of the fact that you're a cheating fisherman. Your life, you're not world known.
I think we're underestimating the rest of the fisherman community. Like, they would be following me around, make sure, like, spray painting my car. This guy is a dirty cheater.
God. All right, and
I'd take DJ Moore. Yeah,
I'd probably ultimately.
I think Josh Bynes is getting it done enough.
I don't think he had a great day.
But I'd rather have a
nice
receiver.
Play, but
I mean, yeah, we do need inside linebacker.
That's
but
the problem.
receiver, I feel like would be more beneficial.
And I'm not talking about what it is that you're paying in order to get these guys. So I am getting mixed responses, by the way, on that particular Would You Rather Wednesday scenario. All right, continue to get me yours at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. Get me your responses. Somebody's winning a $25 gift card to Glory Days Grill just for participating. We'll come back in, quick tidbit and tubular, and then segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show to wrap things up. It's Glenn Clark Radio. The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
Glory Days Grill's Oktoberfest menu is now running. It's one of their most popular seasonal menus all year. It features the chicken schnitzel, the Oktoberfest brewer's platter, the brewer's sausage sandwich, the Bavarian burger with a pretzel bun, the cheddar ale soup, the slam dunk pretzels, and the apple cobbler. All of these meals pair well with Oktoberfest beers and Angry Orchard on draft. Dine in or order online at glorydaysgrill.com and pick up your favorites to take home. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Have you been to Guilford Hall Brewery? Located in Baltimore's Station North neighborhood, Guilford Hall Brewery breaks the craft brew mold with their great handcrafted microbrews and amazing Bavarian-style food selections. Join Guilford Hall 7 days a week for Orioles, Ravens, and all of your favorite college games. Make plans now to watch the big games, play trivia, or bring your dog for Yappy Hour. They even have free valet service on Friday and Saturday nights. Go to guilfordhall.com for a complete schedule of events, beer listings, and food and drink specials. We'll see you at Guilford Hall Brewery.
Tune in to Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday at 11:40 a.m. And if you really have nothing better to do, keep listening to this show too.
Mike Elias holding a season-ending press conference today at Camden Yards. One quote, my buddy Luke Jones tweeted this. Mike Elias didn't want to broadcast specifics to player agents, but he said the Orioles have the, quote, flexibility to invest in a major league payroll in a different way, unquote, this offseason. He sees Camden Yards as a, quote, very attractive free agent destination, unquote, and, quote, now a great place to pitch, unquote. So, sounds encouraging that they want to go out and find some pitching, but, have to go do it. That's the way that works. Today's show also brought to you... Oh, slack situation over here is a real issue, a real problem. Today's show also brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star. Come see Olympic athletes in action as the nation's best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events at the Mars. Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. GinsuGrills.com is the website for you to pre-order your Ginsu Kamado Grill, the perfect ceramic tailgate or home grill for searing, grilling, baking, and smoking all kinds of food. Use the code TAILGATE. You'll save $100. GinsuGrills.com. Hey, should I be what Colson, quickly. Where are we on with the Ginsu Grill on Sunday? Where can people come try the delicious if they want to put your sausage in their mouth?
The Firefighters Union Hall, 734. It's right across the stadium off of Russell Street.
Firefighters Union Hall.
Yeah. It's been a tailgate party there for.
Is it theirs? Is it somebody else's? Is it?
It's the Firefighters Union Hall.
It's their tailgate.
WBAL 98 Rocker there.
Okay.
We're going to be there. They're promoting it. We're going to be sampling sausage.
Excellent. And you can register to win your own Ginsu Kamado Grill and $500 worth of grilling meats.
$500 worth of grilling meats, including sausage.
All right. Very good. That's where we're going to be on Sunday. And
Sunday from,
talk into the microphone, please.
From 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
till
on
game
Sunday.
time.
Are we doing this for every game? Or?
We are.
Okay.
The rest of
the season will be at the Firefighters Hall.
Correct.
Give me send me something a little bit more.
I was.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Typing away on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll get right to it.
Very good. Yeah, get on that, Colson. What do you got for tidbit?
All right, so
Sure.
more on the day of the
Can
week.
we do something about my slack situation in here?
Yeah. Okay.
Every time I let go of the microphone, that happens. Like, it's not ideal.
I'll look into it.
Can we do something about the slack?
Are you talking to John or talking to
anybody?
Okay.
Anybody who can fix it. Anybody at all. Like 100 times I've tried moving the cord to get. I just feel we need a permanent solution, not like death. Yeah, but will it end up falling back here in 2 days when I adjust them? I just feel like there needs to be a more.
Well, we could unplug it after the show and then run it.
Whatever. It's not a problem for now. We got to get to the Tyus Bowser Show. Give me the tidbit.
So it was more on the home runs during the day of the week. Anthony Santander has the most home runs hit on Mondays. While we were talking about this season.
Sure.
While we were talking about Albert Pujols.
Yes. Monday mashups.
Barry Bonds and Babe Ruth. And then Aaron Judge actually now has 13 on Tuesdays, which is the most.
Okay.
Which maybe, I guess, if Aaron Oster had known about that.
Yeah, probably. Well, no. He didn't screw
That's
up.
right. Yes.
He said not to
He
bet
didn't like the value,
game.
and he didn't like the value
but
of
that. But he said the bet he said was don't bet the first game. So he technically was
because it was like plus 215 in the first game, and then I think it was back down to like plus 250-ish.
I don't know what it was in the second game, but he didn't bring up the second game.
Yes.
Just said don't bet the first game.
You're right.
He really did say don't bet any individual game because he didn't
Yeah.
like the value, but specifically the bet was the first game. So he's not wrong about that.
Do you want to guess the guy with the most home runs on each day of the week?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
Moving on to the next thing.
Do not. You want to tell me? If you want to tell me, by all means, but do it quickly.
Okay. All right. On Sundays, Rowdy Tellez with
Okay.
11.
Sure.
Tuesdays, Aaron Judge with 13. Santander on Mondays, obviously. Wednesday, Judge, Arenado, Tellez, and Austin Riley all tied with 9.
Big
So I know,
opportunity
big
for
day.
someone.
This is a big
It's
day today. On Thursdays, Kyle Schwarber with 8.
Okay.
8 home runs. Fridays is Aaron Judge with 11. Saturdays, Manny Machado.
How about
hit
that?
10 home runs.
How about that?
On Saturdays. And then Orioles statistics pointed out that Matt Wieder's best WAR in his career was 5.2, and then in Adley's Adley's WAR this season is 5.3, which is higher. So
yes. Hopefully
it
goes up from there.
Yes, very great. Good, very good to see that. And then this one was from Joel Reuter, who pointed out that there have been 5 rookie catchers that have had a WAR of 5 or more in their rookie season. And so Adley Rutschman is one of those. Can you name the other 4?
Mike Piazza.
Mike Piazza is correct in 1993, 7.0 WAR.
Buster Posey.
Not Buster Posey. Let's see what his was. Buster Posey 3.9 in 2010.
Sure. Carlton Fisk.
Carlton Fisk, number 1, 7.3, highest WAR by a rookie catcher in 1973.
Yachty.
Not Yachty.
Sal Perez.
Not Sal Perez.
I don't remember other catchers having great rookie seasons, so I'm just guessing catchers. Gary Carter.
Not Gary Carter.
Pudge.
Not Pudge.
Just guessing catchers.
It was 1968, 1970.
Thurman Munson.
Thurman Munson
Hey!
in 1970, 5.5 WAR.
Posada.
Not Jorge Posada.
Javi Lopez.
Not Javi Lopez.
Real Muto.
Not Real Muto. Cincinnati Red.
Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench, 1968, 5.0 WAR. Those are the top 5
All
WAR
right.
seasons for a rookie catcher.
I nailed it. I killed
You
that
did.
one.
You did. You
that
got
was
it.
outstanding. Tubulars brought to you by Guilford Hall Brewery. God, we love Guilford Hall Brewery. Had another great night there last night. I know everybody that went there for the first time was like, wow, this place is amazing. My buddy, who showed up last night? Tim from Bel Air. It was great to see Tim. Love that guy. Tim is his very tall son. Tim's son is 13 years old and is like 6'3". It's crazy. But Tim was like, wow, this place is great. I'm like, I know, it's amazing. Like you never see it coming. It's a spectacular venue. The food is excellent. The beer selection outstanding. They got a big Halloween party coming up on October 29th. It's free and great music all night. Costume contest 7 to 11 at Guilford Hall Brewery, 1611 Guilford Avenue in Station North. Have really enjoyed hanging out there. We've been there twice already this season. I wouldn't mind going back again if that could be worked out. It is an awesome, awesome place. Oh, John Colson says we might be. I'd love that. That would be great news. Otherwise, I'll just be hanging out there by myself at some point because it is very cool. All right, Masson 2 for the Orioles. They get underway. Game number 1 coming up at 12:30. It'll be Mike Baumann on the mound for the first game for the Orioles. Trevor Richards goes for the Blue Jays. Game 2, Spencer Watkins against TBA. The Blue Jays, of course, trying to protect the pitchers that are actually going to pitch for them in the playoffs. So, they might just kind of throw out a bunch of guys today that they're not planning on using. I don't know how you handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need the Blue Jays probably would have been just as fine with a forfeit.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, are they playing for?
No, I think they already locked up the highest wild card.
So at this point, I would imagine
they
probably would have been just fine with saying we don't need to play both of these games. It's not necessary for us. They might be fine with playing neither one of them, honestly. So I don't know who's going to pitch for them in Game 2. Both games on Masson 2. Masson for Nationals, Mets at 4. Oddly, there was nothing scheduled as far as any national broadcasts of Major League Baseball today, which maybe was if there were games that mattered, they would have been broadcast, but because there are no games that matter, wasn't the point of adding more playoff teams they wanted there to be more relevance to Game 162, and as it turns out, there's no relevance at all on the final day of the regular season. ESPN 2's got college football tonight, SMU UCF at 7 o'clock.
Good one.
Yeah, actually, it's not a bad game. Champions League again today. All the matches are on Paramount Plus. The Golazo Show at 3 on CBS Sports Network. The Capitals play a preseason game tonight against the Red Wings at 7 on NBC Sports Washington. The rest of the preseason hoops and hockey. You can find it at GlennClarkRadio.com. TBS for AEW Dynamite tonight at 8. Some non-sports highlights?
Not too much. Anthony Fauci will be on Stephen Colbert for some reason.
Sure.
And then your boy Judd Apatow will be on Jimmy Kimmel tonight, along with Keanu Reeves. Maybe he'll talk about the Superbad
the tapes. Yeah. Release the tapes.
New episode of Archer, of course, and a new episode of Andor, the Star Wars series on Disney+.
Very good. Thanks today to Drew Forrester. Thanks also to Evan Washburn and to Beau Brade from Maryland. We will get all of it up in the greatest hits section of the tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. On the program tomorrow, Marty Mornhinweg is going to join us, former NFL head coach, Ravens offense coordinator. Specifically, I want to talk to Marty about the decision. I just wanted to get a coach's perspective. We had a couple guys that reached out to this week and might still catch up with one or two more of them, but I just want to get coach's perspective on the decision-making and, a player on the team clearly not being okay with it, how that all looks. Just want to talk about that. So we'll talk to him. I'll get you segment number 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show and Stuff and Things.
Stuff and Things.
Picks. Sure, picks. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including the Maryland Lottery, the Maryland 5-Star, Glory Days Grill, as well as Royal Farms, the Costas Inn, Guilford Hall Brewery, the Baltimore County Police Department, Grade 8's Memorabilia, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, Maryland Vascular Specialist, the all-new Ginsu Grill, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin, at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Wednesday evening. Go Birds, why not? One final time this year. Duke sucks, Ohio State sucks too. We wrap up today's show with segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show from last night. And welcome out to the Tyus Bowser Show, Press Box and 105.7 The Fan. We are live at Guilford Hall Brewery in Station North. I am Glenn, she is Rita, and he is the star of our show. Would you guys please give it up for our host, Mr. Tyus Bowser?
Happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you as well.
Did you see? I wore them.
Yeah, I did. I'm happy that you wearing them.
I wore them. I wouldn't.
Good, man.
It was raining tonight. I was not gonna wear them, I made the right decision.
You
right?
did. You made a great decision.
So on a night like tonight, if I wasn't doing the show, and promise you just leave those at home, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, all right. I'm trying. Tyus gave me these beautiful panda dunks. And they're maybe the nicest thing I own. So I got to be careful about it. It's great to have you here, and you brought out another great guest with you for tonight. We're really excited to have him here. Do you want to go ahead and handle the introduction?
Yeah, man. This guy really doesn't need an introduction, but an all-pro, pro bowler, the best tight end in the league, man, Mark Andrews.
Appreciate that, Tyus.
Mark, thank you for coming out, man. It's great to see you. Did you mention to me that Tyus never got you a pair of Panda Dunks, and maybe he owes you something at some point?
Yeah,
like,
eventually, man. He's gonna have to step my kick game up a little bit.
Right.
He got them all, but I got you. I'm gonna get you a pair.
Hey, the Tyus Bowser Show is a partnership of Grade 8's Memorabilia and Press Box, and it's also brought to you by our friends at Maryland Vascular Specialists and the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. Use the code TAILGATE right now at ginsugrills.com, and you can save $100 when you reserve your brand new Ginsu Kamado Grill. Also, those of us that are here at the beautiful Guilford Hall Brewery, at your table, you've got a form to fill out, and you can register to win your own Ginsu Kamado Grill and $500 worth of grilling meats. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it, right? Like, let's not. If you and Mark played one-on-one, who would win?
One-on-one?
Yeah.
Basketball?
Yes.
Oh, that's an easy question. Yeah, of course, me.
You know Mark was a basketball player.
I do know that Mark was a basketball player, but I'm a basketball player as well.
Has this maybe happened at some point?
No, it hasn't happened. Maybe it will, maybe it not, but confidently, I know that I'll probably beat this man in basketball.
You just gonna let him talk about you like that?
I'm a DM up, man. We'll see, though.
Better said than done, man. Better said than done.
Mark, for those that don't know, you played basketball pretty much deep into high school, right? Like,
I grew up just basketball, soccer, kind of my main sports, but fell in love with basketball for sure. I got to a point where I realized that I needed to focus on football and give up basketball, though.
Was the plan to play college? Like, would you, if you had stayed with basketball, like Tyus has one over on you. He played in college.
Yeah.
Would you have played in college had you stayed in basketball?
I could have done it, but it's different for me. Football felt natural to me. I'm a very skill set oriented type of player, and basketball I wasn't. I was kind of a grinder. I had to play against the 7-footers and be big and do that type of thing, which I loved. But I have a skill set for football that was like it was like being a point guard for
I get that.
Yeah.
All right, let's handle other things. Who wins the Oklahoma drill if we line you guys up right now?
That's a great question, man. I've seen he be running over guys, man, but like I said, I'm gonna be confident. I'm gonna win that battle.
No way.
It's gonna be tough.
So you're saying the guy that went to Oklahoma with a drill named after the program that he went to, you can beat?
No chance.
Absolutely.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely. Hey, we do the Oklahoma drill too at Houston as well, so we got some grinders out there.
We invented it.
Hey, that's okay. We gonna be better at it though.
All right, so yeah.
Yeah, that moment.
What do you want to say? What do you want to? Again, it's tough because I know it's like what we talked about at the Miami game.
Yeah.
You can't control it, right? Yeah. Like it's happening. There's nothing you can do about it, and I can only imagine how powerless that feeling has to be.
It is, man, especially, in moments where, like I said, you feel like you can make a play for the team, whether you can just be there vocally, just as a leader, just being able to be out there, be one of those guys that can contribute to helping this team win. It sucks that I'm not out there, but I understand the situation and what I'm in, and that time is going to come when I'm back on the field to where I can be there to help these guys.
Not that we don't. You just want to handle the part where
it is week 5.
Yeah.
It is week 5. It is week 5.
You know what that means?
What does that mean?
Somebody's off pup.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay.
First of all, we like that part, don't we? Tyus Bowser's off the pup list.
I'm off pup, guys. I'm off pup.
You know what? Actually, I almost forgot about this. You gave me a gift last time. My kids, so I got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. I wanted to bring him here tonight, but we had some scheduling issues.
Yeah.
They were like, well, Mr. Tyus did something nice for you. What did you do for him? And I said, oh, I don't think I did anything nice for Tyus. So they told me I needed to do something nice for you, so I got you a shirt.
Oh, wow.
It says,
oh, man.
Because we know who your role model is.
It is
it's
my
the great
role model.
DJ Pauly D.
It is.
So I took.
Tyler's here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I like it.
You like that?
I like that. That's cool.
There we go.
I like
there you
it.
go. Hey,
I'm gonna have to rock
that's
that
my
shirt.
gift for you, my
Hey,
man.
man, I
That's the
appreciate
one.
Appreciate you. Love you, bro. Appreciate you.
So, how good does it feel just to be back on a field? Again, you're not going to tell us. I know you're not going to tell us because we've been doing this long enough to know that.
Yeah.
But just to know we're upon it, it's coming.
Yeah, I am upon being back on the field. Still working on a few things, but overall, man, I'm happy to have the opportunity, personally, physically, spiritually, have an opportunity to get myself back on the field. Just being away, from practice, from training camp, all of that, even in the games, man, it feels like I'm distant. I feel like I'm not a part of the team at times. So, I work so hard during treatment and rehab of just trying to get myself back in order, getting myself confident within myself to be able to get back on the field. So I'm at that place. I see light at the end of the tunnel. And, hopefully in the next few weeks, you'll see me back out there.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I'm going to flip Glenn's question for what he asked you, and I'm going to ask you, Mark. He said, what is it like when you're not able to, feel like you can contribute? Obviously, physically, you weren't able to do it. Mark, in your situation, obviously you played. So when you have a game like you had on Sunday, right, where you're able to play and you see how it unfolded, right? How does that make you feel and how everything goes? Because Tyus obviously is not able to physically be there, but he can try to, mentor guys. So what is it that your role is when you see a game unfolding like that?
It's just bringing energy. It's attacking all the time. Being in a game like that, obviously the Bills are a good team. Hats off to them. Played a good game. But, we were rolling in the first half. It's keeping that energy up, learning how to put teams down when they're down. Like I said, just attacking all game, all the time, bringing the energy, making plays, being a leader. But we got a great team. We have a lot of young guys, but a lot of really, really good vets, and we have a lot of really good vets that are coming back, like Tyus. So it's a long season. I'm excited for the rest of it, and yeah, man, Baltimore. I just want them to stay with us because we have big things coming this year.
It is the Tyus Bowser Show, Press Box 105.7 The Fan. Tyus, there was a moment in the game on Sunday, and I think we need to demand that Mark apologize because he committed an egregious pass interference penalty. I mean, they were children that were watching that game. They were kids watching and saw him standing in the same general area as another football player, and I don't think we can stand. I think we need to demand that he apologize for something like that.
Think about the children.
It's not happening.
Mark, do you want to apologize to the children for your heinous actions there?
I'm not sorry.
I wouldn't be sorry either.
I know we don't want to get you in trouble. I promise we don't want to get you in trouble. We just wanted to have some fun with it somehow, some way. The rest of us know that might be the worst pass interference call in the history of football,
man.
correct?
Easily.
God, what in the world was that?
I don't know, man. But I seen that myself, and I was like, he ain't even do anything. I've seen way worse from Hopkins, from other guys who is literally chunking the dude to the other side of the field and not getting any calls. But he literally does this, and you throw it. I don't know, man.
Look, man.
Unless you know something that I don't know.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything at all. I don't know, and I know Mark doesn't want to get in trouble. I can tell right now.
He already told you he wasn't sorry, so just move along.
Mark, after the game, you said something. As everybody was asking you about the team's decisions to go for it, and particularly the 4th and goal. And there was something you said that everybody really seemed to get a kick out of. And you said, I'm a dog. I like to attack. And I like that my coach likes to attack. Yeah. Can you, a couple days removed, maybe not quite in the same emotional space, can you tell me more about why it is that you guys like the idea of being aggressive in situations like that?
First off, just the trust in Coach Harbaugh. I think that everybody has his back on this team. And we know how competitive he is and what winning means to him and all of us. So just after the game, obviously I was ready to go. I was still ready to play a little bit, run some more routes. But just his mindset to go out there and win the game right there, which we could have. It's just execution at that point. That's on us as players. And I love the decision, man. He's competitive. He likes to attack. He's a dog. We have dogs. So that's what I meant.
Tyus, last time this happened, you guys held a players-only meeting afterwards, right? They got a little publicity. What do you do after this? Like, do you do it again? Do you know, hey, look, it happened the last time and we bounced back just fine a week later. We don't need to worry too much about it.
Nah, man. It's football at the end of the day. And our mindset is always going to win regardless of the situation. And for us, we know who we are as a defense. Like Mark said, we got a lot of young guys, a lot of talented young guys. We got a lot of vets. We got a lot of vets who's coming back. And it's just all about gelling and figuring ourselves out. I mean, it's only the 4th game. We got, 13 more of the games to go? That's a lot of football to play, man. And that's a lot of time for us to figure out who we are as a defense, as an offense, as a special teams, as a team collectively to go out here and make that stride. And I know Justin mentioned something earlier today. It was like, man, you much rather have this go on now, to go through these growing pains and to figure this entire situation out. So then moving forward, we can actually make those plays, win those situations, and overall win the games, because he's been on teams, like you said, 9-0, 9-1, and finish the season and not even make the playoffs or don't even go anywhere. So I'd much rather go through this situation now, us figure out ourselves, and then move forward, man, making plays and doing what we got to do to win games.
Well, you guys have never started 2-2 and had anything good happen afterwards. Though.
Yeah, I know, man. Exactly.
There's never been a season
There's never been a season where
like
we
there was
just,
a tough loss and you were 2-2.
Yeah.
And then anything good happened after that. Nothing.
Just
I can't.
Right downhill.
Yeah, really. Just never another good thing at that point.
Exactly.
Mark, what kind of dog are you? Is a question that I got from a couple of people today.
What kind of dog am I?
Yeah.
Dang. I have some Bernie Doodles. I don't know if I'm a Bernie Doodle, but my family has some Bernie Doodles. I love those dogs. But Tyus, what kind of dog am I?
I don't even think this is a dog, but it might be like a saber-toothed cat or something.
Wait a second. Hang on, read it. He just asked what kind of dog he was.
He meant a cat.
Said it. A saber-toothed cat.
Not like, he a pit bull. He a
big cat.
Rottweiler. He was like, he's a
big
saber-toothed cat.
Man.
I appreciate
That's
it.
very deadly. That you don't even want to be around. You don't want to touch. You don't want to mess with. And that's what I think of Mark, because when he out on the field, man, I don't know. I just see him and something just clicks in his head to where it's like, man, nobody can touch me. Nobody can mess with me. If the ball comes my way, I'm catching it regardless. And that's what I see as dominant, as somebody who you just can't mess with.
Is there a similarity you see? We talk about you a lot. I always try to get your teammates. I'm about to have Mark try to tell me, like, you're the nicest human being I've ever met. and it's hard for me to imagine you being mean, like you getting on a football field and being like that. Mark is a seemingly very nice guy. Is there a similarity?
Great guy, man. Awesome guy. But when he crossed some lines, man, I'm going to let Mark do what he got to do. Simple as that. He scored a touchdown, first down, whatever it is. Hey, good job, boy. Keep working. And I'm going to keep him in his zone. Simple as that.
Mark, have you always been like that? Have you always had like the put a helmet on, I'm going to turn into a psychopath type of mentality?
Yeah, I mean, sports have been a part of my life since I was very young, and just that outlet to be able to kind of release everything through that, and having a bunch of guys that count on you, man. So I love my teammates, love my brothers. I love Tyus, man. He's an incredible teammate, incredible person. He's one of the most well-liked people I've ever been around. Someone that you just kind of gravitate towards. So, but like you said, man, when you step on that field, like when he steps on that field, he's a competitor. He's ready to go.
Man, he said all those things about you, and you didn't even get him any shoes. That's unbelievable.
I told you, man. Hey, I got you some shoes.
And I say nice things about you?
And you do.
I do. I say very nice things about you.
So that means I can do the same thing for him.
All right. Is there anything else we need to say? Can we move on?
We can move on.
Is everybody satisfied with, you know what, Tyus? We put it to Mark. We'll put it to you. The decision to go for it. You're a defensive player, right? Like, are you still good with that? Are you still
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, we want to win a game. We want to put ourselves in the best position to win. And whether we score or not, we leave this team on a 2-yard line to go 98 yards down the field or whatever it is to try to score. And I have the confidence, Coach had the confidence that if the situation didn't work out with what went on, we could put our defense in a position to stop them, get the ball back in field position, and then if we don't score, we can put ourselves in a position to give the greatest kicker of all time the opportunity.
Yeah, I heard he's okay. So. I heard he's all right.
Exactly. So I'm cool with the choice, man. I love the choice. I mean,
I just feel like it means that Coach has a lot of confidence in his players, and I think that that's important to have someone say, I know that you can do this. So because obviously we saw this even in 2021 when you had, all those guys out, you had a backup quarterback playing, and yet you're still going for it on 4th down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Most coaches would have said, no, let's punt it away or let's take the points, but you're still doing this with a guy like a Tyler Huntley, under center. So to me, that just says a lot about what the coach thinks of his team and how the team responds to that. And
like I said before, during that situation with all those injuries, if you look at all those games where it came down to the last minute, we were either winning, we was either close, or had the opportunity to win with half of our starters, half of our best players out. So that just tells you right where Mark said, the talent, the young guys that we have on this team to go out here and play regardless of who's out there. That's what makes this team so special, and that's why Coach has so much confidence in us, because we're dogs. Like, we work hard, we grind, and we're going to go out there and compete regardless of who's out there. We trust in each other, and we're going to go out there and try to win every game. So
that's all right. Good stuff. All right, make some noise, Tyus Bowser, Mark Andrews, please. Tyus Bowser shows a partnership of Pressbox and Grade 8's memorabilia, and Mark Andrews is on the cover of the current issue of Pressbox, which is available right now at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Pressbox. Grade 8's memorabilia has an amazing event coming up on October 22nd, Catch the Cure, a breast cancer awareness drive with Devin Duvernay at Vintage Vinyl in Bel Air up in Harford County, benefiting the Susan B. Komen Foundation. You can find out more right now by going to grade8smemorabilia.com. When we come back in, Rita wants to play a little this or that. We're going to have some fun, get to know these guys a little bit better. So we will do that next. We're live at Guilford Hall Brewery. It's the Tyus Bowser Show.